God bless America. Land that loves the sun and God who night light above. From the mountains to the grass, to the ocean, wide, wide, darkness, America, my home, oh, sweet home, God bless America.
Morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I thought that'd be a great way to start the morning off. Yeah, some great singers there. Those guys put together quite a few great compilations of many, many songs. And the title today is Morning Highlights. And Mary Bradley, where are you? We have not been able to reach Mary Bradley yet to let her know that she won the drawing on Monday. She is one of our Facebook viewers, and we have not been able to reach her. So Mary Bradley, please stand up. Guys, sometimes initial emails from places like the ranch might end up going to your spam folder. So you have to periodically check your spam folder to see if they sent something to you, and so on. So hopefully my audio is good. Can you guys hear me? Because I think I might have my settings all messed up because I was playing music this morning. Let me double check. Hello. Come on now. My computer is acting really funny today. Really, really funny. Give me 1 second here, guys. I'm going to check and see if settings is trying to do something that they're not supposed to do. Yeah. I don't want Windows 11. Stop trying to install it. Give me 1 second here to put a stop to this. And hopefully we'll get things back on track here. Wow, I'm getting a glare too, ain't I? Yeah. Let's see. Let's bring that down a little bit. So the last couple of days, I've been kind of did a sidestep and let some other people get some information and stuff out there. And then by the time we got done doing theirs, I had so many things that I had to get done here, so I wasn't able to really jump on here and do much more at that point. The lots of things going on, and we're going to cover. We're going to be covering quite a bit of it. Now I had a lot of people ask me, why are you playing so many black people? And their comments and stuff like that. Well, this is the thing, is that there, while some of us were under a lull by our government to look at one direction, okay, their entire community was lulled into looking at government from another direction, and I think that it's important for people to see the awakening that is happening, because the things that we post, the things that we talk about, those are all big topics to have and to cover. And I think it's important. People are right now in New York lining up for the Trump rally there in the Bronx, which is going to be phenomenal. I think it's going to probably be, I'm gonna put myself out there and say I believe it's probably going to be one of the best rallies that Trump has ever had. Okay, and this is the reason that I'm going to say that is when people are led into a narrative for so long. And yes, I see the cobweb that's there. Jesus, let me get rid of it. Damn spiders, they're faster than I am. They are much faster than I am. And I get them down, they're right back up within a couple of hours. They're right back up. But, the good thing is with that is that many flies. So every time I take down the spider webs, then the flies they have a little bit of freedom for just a little bit of time until the new ones go up. So, this is, so back to the Bronx. Okay. It's been the Bronx has been a Democrat cesspool for a long time. You got people like AOC, who are representatives that really don't give a crap about the people whatsoever. And people are recognizing this, and they want something done about it. They have reached their precipice. They're watching things going on. And that's the thing, is you have to bring people to the precipice for them to have the will to change. Okay. And that's it's not going to be an easy task. It's absolutely not going to be an easy task in any way, shape, or form. But if we don't attempt or try, then we are just as at fault for them staying asleep as they are for continuing with the narrative. Okay. It is our responsibility, being awake, to inform people. And I know we get lambasted. People who are liberals and everything else, they get all upset. Oh my God, I can't believe this, and I hate you now, and I'm not going to follow you. I'm not going to listen to you, and all this. Well, I don't care. I don't care, because for every one that walks away, 1,000 more come. For everyone that says, no, I'm not listening, 1,000 more wake up. And that's what, that's what's important. That's what's important. Okay. For them to see it, for them to recognize their fault. Okay. Because it is their fault. Not waking up sooner. That is their fault. But the fact of the matter is that they've been indoctrinated into that narrative so immensely that that's all they've known. Okay. And sometimes they just hold on to that and keep going with that. So, we'll just, all right, let's go ahead. Let's get our day started. I got to kill my camera because we know that creates a big lag for my computer. Let's see here. Let's get to present and make sure we get the audio, because we've got quite a few of them today. Quite a few. And we're going to be covering things that have gone on in the last couple of days that I have not been able to get shared with you guys because of doing stuff with other people. All right. Here's Trump supporters have been lining up since 8 a.m. in the Bronx to welcome President Trump, who's set to arrive at 6 p.m. for his rally. Now, if we're still on, I will cover the rally. And we'll see how well that goes. But I think that today is going to be the beginning of a huge change in New York City. Okay. I believe that is going to be a huge change of what's going on in New York. And it needs to happen. It needs to happen. Yes, it's going to be tonight at 6 p.m. In the Bronx. So it is 10 a.m. here on the West Coast. I don't know if I can do a straight 8 hours. Maybe we'll do like 3 hours this morning, and I'll come back on and just do the rally later. My volume is low, you say? Whoop. That's the mute button, you moron. Audio. See, I don't like turning my mic up too loud because of the fact that I don't want to come out of a video and be booming loud compared to what the video was. So I'm trying to be cautious of that. All right. Speaking about what I was talking about before, in regards to these, especially the younger black voters, that's I think that that's the thing that is surprising me the most. Okay, we've seen a lot of the older black people that have recognized and are trying to clue the young in. Okay, but to see these younger kids, these younger ones that are in their 20s, early 30s, really starting to step up, step out, and speak their truth. Okay, that it is that it's extremely beneficial that we share them, because then they understand that we recognize where they stand now. We recognize uh, we understand their pain, we understand their suffering, what they've been through, um, and we go from there. I have not seen any comments from the Facebook side yet. Is anybody watching from Facebook? Is anybody watching on the Facebook side? Because I have not seen one comment come through on Facebook. Let's see if we can get somebody on the Facebook side to come. Oh, here we go. Okay, Roy Rogers. Okay, thank you, Roy. Yeah, I guess maybe I wasn't paying attention and I might have skipped it or missed a couple. Those of you that are on the Facebook side, I need your help. I need your help on the Facebook side. Mary Bradley is the winner for the drawing on Monday, and she is on the Facebook side. Okay, if any of you are friends with Mary Bradley, I know Robert Liberté is one of her friends on Facebook, and there's a couple of others. So if you guys happen to have a connection with Mary Bradley, please get her a message. I need her to get into her emails and get in contact with Donovan, or else we're going to end up having to draw another name. And I would really hate for her to have gone through the trouble of entering and then not getting the prize. I just I feel awkward about that. But at the same time, they can't hold the meat much longer. They've got to do something with it. So yeah. So if you guys can help me reach Mary Bradley, that would be awesome. Tell her to check her emails right away. Get in contact with Donovan so that can get shipped out to her. Okay. And thank you very much, those of you on that side. I appreciate you all very much. I'm sorry I don't get a lot of comments over to you guys over there, but it using the StreamYard, if I'm opening up Facebook and opening up all the other platforms and things, I really start to get a really bad lag, and I've actually found myself kicked out of my own StreamYard a couple of times because of it. So it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. So okay, all right, let's get to this young lady and see what she's got to say.
As a registered Democrat, no, I'm not voting for Joe Biden. Sorry, not sorry. I don't know how else to put this. Like, you can't pay me enough, you can't gaslight me enough, you can't feed me those weak talking points. I'm not voting for him. I don't see how anybody in their right state of mind can look at what's going on right now, nationally and internationally, and scream Biden 2024. It will not sit well with my spirit to know that I cast a ballot for someone like him. This whole concept of gaslighting people into voting for Biden because he's better than Trump, I'm letting you know it's far gone. I'm going to let y'all know this, Democrats. If you want Biden to win in 2024, you have to come up with a better talking point than just he's better than Trump. As a registered Democrat, no, I'm not voting for.
She makes good points. Democrats, if you want her to vote for Biden, you better come up with better talking points than what you got so far. Wow, she just put it right out there. All right, on site at the Bronx Trump rally, meeting great patriots. Now, this is Peggy Dodson, and Peggy's put out a couple of really great videos, speaking her mind, speaking her truth, and it's important to hear these voices and to hear their messages and to see the hope that they have. Okay, that's the other thing is the generating of goodwill and hope, because we are coming together. We are all beginning to think of like mind without having programming to do it to us. Okay? Without the TV channeling us, without the spells, okay? Without the magic and the puff and pomp and circumstance. You know what I'm saying? Let's take a listen.
Hey everybody, it's Peggy D. How you doing? I am here in the Bronx out here. I'm actually in the media pit. I ended up here and I've been meeting with people who are part of President Trump's team here in New York. I met the son of the Bodega Association and where President Trump did the tribute and all that kind of stuff. I just met him. We're hooking up and getting ready for, oh my God, look at this. Yay. So it was a deluge earlier. Oh, look at this. So this is like Trump City right now, and I love it. People are getting ready here. It's really early. People coming here early. They're starting to fill in after the rain. And we have News One. We have I think all the media is here, and then they're continuously coming up. So they have voter registration going on. And all of that. So it's all good. I'm here. And I got in early. I'm starving. I gotta get something to eat. But everybody's setting up here. I ended up in the media crew, but I what I want to do is get in line because I really want to be up front. You know, I can shoot from up front. I don't really, want to be back here with these guys. Even though this is my hi, how are you? Look at you. Look at you. You having fun today?
Yes.
So what's your favorite thing about President Trump?
He hates identity politics as much as I do.
Yes, girl.
I mean, the left, they perpetuate division. Like, what does it matter? The color, the ability, the gender. Like, it doesn't define you as a person, and it doesn't make like. What can you do because of one aspect of yourself? What can he do for you that, like, he should be doing something for all Americans?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Biden. Well, first of all, Biden does everything for Ukraine, not America.
He's not for America.
No, not at all. But he separates his groups.
Well, it's the divide and conquer, race. Everything's about race. Everything's about gender, and all that kind of crap. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it.
And it's also to go after the kids.
Yeah, and they're going after the kids.
The fact that they're bringing the kids into it should be the most uniting factor for everybody.
For me, it is. Yeah. Girl, I'm ferocious online. Okay, I don't care.
We gotta follow each other.
Oh, we do. Let me tell you something. Yeah.
All lives MAGA. All lives make America great again.
That's right. That's right. And what do you got to say? Oh, you're part of the media, so.
I'm not part of the media.
Oh, okay.
I'm
You're
part
MAGA.
of the entourage. I'm MAGA.
Okay, baby. So everybody here is not identifying as me. We're identifying as MAGA today.
We're all identifying as MAGA today.
Yes.
Forever.
Because I've been in this industry for a long time. I am not in the industry, but I'm independent.
Independent. That's right. So are we.
I'm independent.
Freebeerman.tv. Check us out.
I will. UBC TV. Check us out.
UBC.
You be seeing us.
You be seeing us. All right, I love it. You be seeing us. I like
UBC
it.
TV. I'll give you our
UBC
info.
TV. That'll be great. Thank you
All
so much.
right.
Take a picture of your badge just so I remember.
I'm going to give you my info, girl.
Oh, okay,
This is time for us to hook up as all MAGA,
Absolutely.
all races, all genders, because we're all part of the same damn family. There's no separation.
Exactly.
I'm tired of it.
The issues that are affecting America affect all of us.
Exactly.
If another country attacks us, or if somebody from another country comes here illegally, they don't care if you're black, white, able, woman, whatever.
Exactly.
They want to kill us because we're Americans.
That's right. That's right. And people
Or
need
they
to
want to take
understand
over
that.
us and infiltrate us.
Exactly. Okay, I'm gonna take a break because I'm feeling a lot of love here, y'all. All right, Peggy Dodson, news on the street here at President Trump's rally in the Bronx. Book it down, Bronx. Book it down, Bronx. The home of hip hop, baby. All right.
Yeah, so Peggy Dodson, that's her name, and she is a hoot. She does she does a lot of great content, putting a lot of really good information out there. All right, Jesse Waters, here we go.
Hear, hear. Normies are revolting, and they want to make America normal again. Former CIA analyst Martin Gurry, one of the good guys, says we're living through a great global battle for power, a clash of classes between the normies, ordinary people who just want to work, get married, and have children and get on with their lives, and the elites who wish to change everything: sex, the climate, our history, your automobile, your diet, even the straws with which you slurp your smoothie. For them, there is no good and evil, no right and wrong, only oppressors and oppressed. Every transaction demands their intervention to protect designated oppressed groups. The elites need total control over the information sphere because their policies on immigration, gender, and climate, just to mention a few, aren't popular with normies. To them, normies are just a basket of deplorables manipulated by unscrupulous populists who need to be brought to heel. But no matter how much normies are censored, smeared, and corralled by the elites, they keep fighting back and electing men like Donald Trump. The elites can feel it, and they're wetting the bed.
I'm torn. Because I love American democracy.
Me too.
And at the same time, I hate listening to Democratic bedwetting every day. I want them to be scared so they'll work harder. I want them to be wetting their bed every morning so they get up and work harder all day.
Okay. You're seeing it from coast to coast, red states to blue. Soros-funded DAs yanked from their jobs. Black women yelling about migrants invading. Parents refusing to let their daughters change in the same locker room as boys. Take here. From Bronx bodegas to Manhattan construction sites to beach towns on the Jersey Shore, normies are showing up. Trump's holding a rally tomorrow in the South Bronx, and Joe Biden can't even fill up a room in New Hampshire. This was the president of the United States' crowd yesterday. Does that look like a man of the people?
Joe Biden, you know, it's never going to look like Beatlemania when Joe Biden steps off a plane going to an event. Joe Biden's about normalcy.
There's nothing normal about the Biden presidency. Pandemic, crime, inflation, illegal immigration. No leadership. He just lies and hides. A new Reuters poll has Biden's approval rating falling to 36%. 36. The revenge of the normies is even being felt in Biden's hometown of Scranton.
Get a stable guy in there who knows what he's doing, a businessman who did it the first time. We're doing pretty good.
I was in better shape when Trump was in office, financially, making less money than I am now.
We need some fresh in office, not crooks and not old, decrepit old people.
Biden has a tendency of just dazing off and falling asleep, so who knows? Trump, so far, he's on top of things.
What you're watching is a political uprising in this country against a class of people who have done nothing but talk down to you, if they talk to you at all. It's what our founding fathers would call democracy, the elite's favorite word. But when the elites say democracy, Gurry says what they mean is their democracy. Democracy only exists when they're in power. The elites are so disgusted and threatened by populism, they don't even dare debate it. It's to be exterminated from the political landscape. Populism must be criminalized. It's why they're using the judicial system to stuff Trump in a refrigerator, keep him on ice before they try to throw him in jail. So when he pops up in the South Bronx tomorrow night, it's going to drive him crazy.
He's hosting a rally to try to con people and try to fleece them out of every dollar that they have to fund his own legal fees. And by the way, he's doing it in the South Bronx, not to make a point, but because he's got court. And the man practically has the legal version of an ankle bracelet around him, and he can't leave the 5 boroughs because he always has to be in court. And so it is truly an embarrassment to him. And I am looking forward to the response of everyday Bronxites talking about how they feel about him coming to their bed.
AOC admitted lawfare is an ankle bracelet to keep Trump away from normies. His connection's too powerful. There's no way AOC could get anywhere near the crowd Trump could get in the Bronx. And that's her district. She's humiliated that the Bronx wants him there and he wants to be in the Bronx. Gurry says the elites can sense impending danger. The aggressive moralizing, the embrace of bizarre ideology, the trampling of the norms, all of it is a function of panic. Democrats have lost the normie vote. All they have is scare tactics. And here's the scariest one of all.
He's going to put people in positions in those organizations. He didn't have all-stars the last time. He'll have the bottom of the barrel this time, but people who will want to do his will, and that should worry every American. This election matters because of a reason like that. People have to participate. You cannot sit on the sideline. I don't care how you feel about Joe Biden, you must vote for him because the consequences on the other side are too severe.
The former FBI director doesn't realize the normies hate what's become of the FBI. It's the whole reason they're voting Trump. Send him to Washington and smack the town around. No one feels sorry for crooked FBI directors, dirty prosecutors, rogue judges, and insider trading politicians. They don't need protection. Normies need protection from them. 4 years ago, Biden told Charlemagne the God, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Now the elites are begging the guy Biden insulted to endorse him. Watch.
You say you're not going to endorse anybody. Charlemagne, now is not the time, in my opinion, to sit this one out.
Yeah. I didn't say that. I never said I was sitting it out.
What you gonna do?
I'm definitely voting in November, but what I like to focus on is issues, not individuals. Like, you know, when
But why not endorse?
Huh?
Why not endorse Biden?
Why do y'all need us to say this if we don't feel comfortable saying it?
No, it's not that we need you to say it, but I think other folks need to hear.
The reality is, I think both candidates are but I am going to vote in November, and I'm going to vote my best interest, and I'm going to vote who I think, you know, can preserve democracy.
Gurry predicts a political earthquake's coming, and Joe Biden will be crushed on Election Day if Democrats keep prosecuting populism. America's ready for normal. And that's only starting when we get a president back in the White House who listens to the will of the normie.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Oh, here's another one. So, you guys know that it is against these platforms' policy for politicians to block voters. It's against policy for them to block voters. It is actually a form of their free speech being taken away. You know, so it's a violation to the First Amendment. Okay, so Terrence K. Williams is giving 24-hour notice to Jasmine Crockett. You blocked me, so now I'm going to have to file a lawsuit against you because my First Amendment rights go beyond your personal space, because your personal space is what? It is a job for the U.S. government. And if you are a politician, you have no choice but to see the comments and read the comments and live with it. Period. Here we go. Let's take a listen.
He's got 91 counts pending right now, but I will tell you what the president has been guilty of. He has unfortunately been guilty of loving his child unconditionally, and that is the only evidence that they have brought forward. And honestly, I hope and pray that my parents love me half as much as he loves his child. Until they find some evidence, we need to get back to the people's work, which means keeping this government open so that people don't go hungry in the streets of the United States, and I will yield. That look like evidence, they want to act like they blind. They don't know what this is. These are our national secrets. Looks like in the shitter to me. This looks like more evidence of our national secrets, say on the stage at Mar-a-Lago.
Okay, so I'm Congresswoman Shanae. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the president love his son. See, the president, and he love corn pop too. He used to be in the streets with corn pop. Joe Biden, he support government cheese, and y'all want to talk about? You look at these documents. Look at this. Yeah. It looked like they was in the shitter to me. So let's get something straight, okay? Okay, leave Joe Biden alone, all right? Cause we don't play that over here. So they need to stop bringing up his name, okay? Thank you. This is how us Democrats roll. We straight up get told. I'm gonna get canceled.
He's funny. He's funny. I'm fitting to get canceled. Hey, this is a great way to start a game. Take a listen.
Not be playing the national anthem. Let's play ball.
I think that these announcers are going to learn very quickly. You can say there ain't going to be no national anthem, but the American people are going to say differently. And I think that is that's 100% patriotic right there, as far as I'm concerned. All right, Paul says Latino voter has woken up to the fact that President Trump isn't the lies she's been constantly fed for years. He's not the problem. Let's take a listen.
Donald Trump is racist. He is anti-feminist. He's going to bring down our economy, and he's going to cause World War III. These are things that I used to believe. These are things that I thought, product of social media manipulation and brainwashing. Now I have found that the solution to our worst economical problems is Donald Trump. I come to find out that he is not all these things that I used to believe, but rather he's going to be the one that is going to make America great again. Donald Trump is racist.
Yep. All these narratives that have been fed to people for years are coming to an end. It is. All right. Outcomes like this only happen in the U.S. government, says Wall Street Apes. Janet Mello defrauded the U.S. Army of $108 million. She created a shell company that funds were funneled into under the guise of providing service to military families and their children. Yeah. Time to bring crooks like this to a complete standstill and lock them up.
Janet Mello, the person who stole $103 million or defrauded the government of $103 million, is going to be able to retire with full benefits. She created a shell company that funds were funneled into under the guise of she was providing some service to military families and their children. That's what she said. Instead, what she used the money for was to buy upwards of 31 homes, a fleet of vehicles, and not just vehicles that you like drive around, nice vehicles, like collector vehicles. She had jewelry, she had like RVs, she bought cattle, all on our dime. This is insane to me. And I don't know if she has any kind of sentence that like community service, jail time, whatever. I don't know. None of the articles made any mention of it. This person defrauded the United States military of $103 million and is now going to be able to retire with full benefits. Her lawyer is saying that he doesn't see how there's any connection between her crimes and the pension that she earned. I'm not seeing how there's not a connection when for 7 years She wasn't doing the thing that she said she was going to be doing. At a minimum, she should have to serve another 7 years in civil service to gain the pension. There couldn't be more of a direct connection. I'm all fired up today.
I think she should serve 7 years in prison. And all of the properties and vehicles and everything that she took and purchased should be turned over to military families. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Mark Lewis says the first thing communists do is indoctrinate the children. We know this. We've been watching this going on with what they're trying to do in our schools. Here we go.
What is the first thing that communists do?
We get asked that a lot, and contrary to popular belief, it's not seizing the guns, but indoctrinating the children.
We found a fascinating article called Communism in the Family, written in 1920 by Alexandra Kollontai, one of the leading voices in communist ideology. She was a Bolshevik. She actually left her husband and her children to devote herself to indoctrinating women and children. She was appointed by Vladimir Lenin as the Commissioner of Social Welfare. They legalized things like abortion, divorce, birth control, granted women's voting rights, also decriminalized prostitution. She wrote this idea of bringing women into the working class and taking them out of the home, making them believe that they have no right to educate their own children. She wrote, "The old family, narrow and petty, where the parents quarrel and are only interested in their own offspring, is not capable of educating the new person. It is the task of the new school to train up the younger generation whose whole ideology shall be deeply rooted in the new communist society."
Their ideology must be put into every single subject.
Because it won't get into the minds of the younger generations if it's not all encompassing. Parents would homeschool their kids and they believed that those rights literally don't exist.
That totally coincides with the more recent things that we've been hearing from leftist politicians.
I'd like to say, first of all, there's no such thing as parental rights.
But it's true. They're all our children. They're not somebody else's children. They're like yours when they're in the classroom.
The belief in zero private property literally comes down to our children.
Yep. Your children are your private property, period. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. Lawfare against Republicans, Amuse says, has emboldened regime-aligned media to escalate their attacks, physical or otherwise, against GOP lawyers like Christina Bobb. She is one of the Trump attorneys.
Get out of my face. Back off.
Just
pal.
like you, I'm in a public place.
You're in a public place assaulting my client. Get out of the way.
Out of my face. Talking about assault.
Attorney.
You don't want to be touched, don't touch me.
Back up if you want a shot. You can I'm letting everybody take a shot. Back up. Get out of my face.
Christina, how'd you think this was so funny up and up? How'd you think this was legitimate?
I'm sorry. I'm wearing a skirt. I'd appreciate it if you'd raise your camera. Get out of my face.
Back off.
Just
pal.
like you, I'm in a public place.
You're in a public place assaulting.
Yeah. I'm getting my face like that and I'll knock you the fuck out. Period. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You know, there's a point of respectful recording and a point of invasion of personal space. And that's exactly what that guy is doing. Just ridiculous. It really is. It's just 100% ridiculous. It's going to come to a head here pretty soon. And it's actually going to be what ends up happening. Somebody's going to end up knocking one of these people out because of the invasion of personal space. And the thing is everybody's entitled to their personal space, 3 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, whatever. You don't need to have a camera 6 inches away from her face or anything else. To me, that's just showing 100% of disrespect and disrespect to the position in which you're holding. Okay. If you want people to respect you as a journalist, then act like a decent journalist. Be a decent journalist. Don't be an ass. If you're going to be an ass, you're going to get treated like an ass and get wiped on the ground. Period. All right. Sun simulation. Now, we've been talking about this because it seems that our sun is white. Our sunlight is white compared to the yellow that we're used to. Honestly, I'm not getting good vibes when I go out and work in the sun. Normally, when I go out in the sun and I'm out there working, by the time I get done working, I'm feeling great because of those yellow rays coming down on me. This guy covers this pretty dang good. Take a listen. Here we go.
Did you guys hear about the sun simulator in Dead Horse, Alaska blowing up? That makes sense as to why there has been a lot of activities in the terms of cloud seeding in the skies, because there's something going on there that they don't want us to see. Now I want you to watch this video and check it out.
I'm more than happy to bring it to you. No problem. Here we go.
Watch the sky. Look at how great the sky is.
So guys, okay, there's the first part of the craziness, and then we will advance. Okay.
You see, it's like a fight.
She's a normal. Okay. Blows up. Okay. I mean, that.
See that explosion?
Our sun does not do that, because if it did, we would be crispy. Okay. Plain and simple.
Let me explain to you why we're not crispy. It's because this is a sun simulator. The real sun is behind the sun.
Okay. Watch this. Seems like there's a little bit of a separation going on. Could be multiple things going on here, like our real sun could be actually behind it. The real sun is always behind the sun simulator, just so you know. The sun simulator is very close to our orbit, so just out of our atmosphere, because they want you to see that and not the real sun, okay? So that you don't see eclipse.
Which the real sun isn't here now.
You know, a planetary system moving through it. Yeah, all that kind of thing. Crazy, okay? Keep watching. What in the world?
Y'all see that? It's like a big solar flare.
So you went from this to this to this to that.
Y'all see that? What? And the whole sky is covered up.
Look at this. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Okay? Unreal.
And then all the clouds disappear. Y'all see that? It's like the sun was fighting the clouds. I be telling y'all, the sun be fighting the clouds to stay out in the open. It's like you being suffocated by a blanket or by a towel, and you're trying to remove yourself from the towel. The sun is a living entity. It wants to breathe. It wants to shine upon us. But these demons, these devils are not letting it. Y'all see that? Why do y'all think the clouds only follow the sun? Do y'all ever notice that? The clouds only follow the sun. Why is that? Because they're trying to block it. Certain clouds that have been created with nanotechnology in it are specifically created in order to stay in front of the sun, to block the light of the sun from reaching us because of the times that we are in right now. See, the sun is causing judgment upon this. So now the real sun is clashing with the solar simulator. You know what I'm saying? Because this is about to go offline when the solar flare goes off. But as you can see, it's literally fighting the clouds in order to shine light upon us. Because this is what we do. We literally shine light upon a situation. But these people over here, you know, they don't want that. This is why all this is happening right now, y'all. What do y'all think about this video? Do you guys remember this commercial? They always tell you everything. Check it out, y'all. Look at this. Sun simulator, y'all see that? That would be analogous to the great solar eclipse, the solar flare that's happening, y'all. That's the real sun. This huge spherical object here, that's the real sun that they don't want you to know about. And this is why they obfuscate it with all these clouds. They do not want us to come in contact or see this huge thing over here. But it is way too late, y'all. They're only prolonging the inevitable. That's all they're doing. You can never stop what God has planned, boy. That's for sure. You can never stop what we plan. That's all I can tell you. But let me know what you guys think about this video. This video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. I am only raising awareness to interesting situations during these interesting times. Like, comment, and share for more videos like this. Thank you for tuning to my frequency. You already know we're in the shift, y'all, and we're getting it. So let's get it. Peace in.
All right. I don't think it's Blue Beam. I think it's, like you said, the Sun Simulator. It's a big difference. All right, Miss Lesko, here we go.
Fauci does not want me to connect anything to him. And when asked by my colleagues, did you use personal email for official business? Your answer was, I didn't think it was doing official business. And then just now you said, not intentionally. Let me read some of the emails. The first.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link for this. Okay, if I can get somebody to copy it and drop it over to the Facebook and the X side, I would appreciate that, because they're getting ready to talk about the big C. Okay, and the conversations between the people at the C and the D and the C. Okay, and the N and the I and the H. Okay, in regards to emails that were passed back and forth about their shenanigans from 2020. You know which shenanigans I'm talking about. The medical shenanigans of great, fiasco. Yeah, we'll call it a fiasco. Yeah. Jamie R. says, as a veteran, I approve this message. Anyone else, make welfare as hard to get as veterans benefits. Oh, yeah. Well, here in Oregon, it's always been that hard. You can't, if you're a man, you're not getting them. You're not getting any assistance whatsoever. It's, yeah. They've discounted the man from ever being able to collect here in Oregon, no matter what's wrong with you, because let me tell you, I've seen people with some real disabilities, okay, try to get any type of assistance whatsoever for general about 3 years. They end up, they end up having problems with, housing, food, with medical, everything all the way down the line. And then finally, maybe if they're lucky, they'll get $700 a month from Social Security in the end of it. But it takes about 3 to 5 years in order to get any assistance whatsoever. And in most cases, these people are already homeless. And it's intentional. So, all right. Let me be clear, says Freya. The press weasel is not an endangered species. It's closely related to the mockingbird, and it's alive and well. Here we go.
The press weasel is among the most elusive creatures in the swamps of our nation's filthy capital. Not in the sense that it cannot be spotted, but because you will never get a straight answer from it. Over many decades in the public eye, the press weasel has evolved many unique skills used to twist the truth. These skills include the ability to blabber on for hours without really answering a question. The press weasel employs filler words and phrases such as and extending its annoying rhetoric. To the untrained ear, this might seem like mere poor speech habits. However, an experienced observer can easily decipher the bullshit being spouted by the press weasel. Phrases like, "let me be clear," combined with overly animated hand gestures, are clear signs that the press weasel is trying to distort the truth. The telltale phrases, stammering speech patterns, and exaggerated hand gestures all serve as absurd distractions, allowing the press weasel to continue its annoying blabbering without ever addressing the simplest questions.
I never knew that the press weasel was a real thing, but now I know. I'll have to remember this. Yeah, the press weasel sounds like the celebrities in Men in Black. Oh, let's take a watch.
People think I'm talking about aliens like the aliens they see in the movies on TV. No, my friends. That's conditioning. You've been conditioned to be afraid of the unknown. What they don't want you to know is that these scary aliens, they look just like you and I. Not all of them, but the majority of them. The majority of these quote unquote aliens, people not of this world, like Jesus said in the Bible, look just like you and I. So much so that you can sit next to them in a movie theater or in an airplane. You can walk next to them at a shopping mall. You can meet them at the beach or a playground, and you will never know that you weren't talking to, quote unquote, what you consider to be a human being or somebody born on this planet. And that's a fact. And that what I just said is almost a direct quote, word by word, by who? A former NATO military officer with high-level clearance. His clearance was called cosmic. It was above top secret. But the thing is, these people are here. They've always been here. We've never been alone. And the illusion that's painted by Hollywood on TV of these people that are coming to blast you with laser guns and all this kind of stuff, and they look like they're monsters and they're gonna eat you and eat your babies, that's conditioning. That's all conditioning. The true reality is they look just like us and we look just like them.
Yeah, Billy Carson, that's who that was. Yep. All right, Joe M posted this on Telegram. His last post was April 2021, but I actually follow him on other platforms as well.
I give you one message to hold in your hearts today. It's this: never, ever give up. There'll be times in your life you'll want to quit, you'll want to go home. Just never quit. I've seen so many brilliant people. They gave up in life. They were totally brilliant. They were top of their class. They were the best students. They were the best of everything. They gave up. I've seen others who really didn't have that talent or that ability, and they're among the most successful people today in the world because they never quit and they never gave up. So just remember that. Never stop fighting for what you believe in and for the people who care about you. I give you one message to
Never surrender. Never. All right, truth about socialism. Here we go.
Let me tell you a scary story. An economics professor at a local college made a statement that she had never failed a single student before, but had recently failed an entire class. The class had insisted that socialism worked, that no one would be poor and no one would be rich, a great equalizer. The professor then said, okay, we will have an experiment in this class. All grades will be averaged and everyone will receive the same grade. No one will fail, but no one will receive an A either. After the first test, the grades were averaged and everyone got a B. The students who studied hard were upset, and the students who studied little were happy. As the second test rolled round, the students who studied little studied even less, and the ones who studied hard decided they wanted a free ride too, so they studied little. The second average test result was a D. No one was happy. When the third test rolled round, the average was an F. As the test proceeded, the scores never improved, as bickering, name-calling and blame all resulted in hard feelings, and no one would study for the benefit of anyone else. To their great surprise, all failed, and the professor told them that socialism would ultimately fail, because when the reward is great, the effort to succeed is great. When the government takes away all the reward.
Yep. When the government takes away all the reward, you have socialism. Yep. All right. Mayrock says, I was wondering what kind of shenanigans would happen today. 5/22/24 aligns with the number 13 again. It is the 143rd day of the year. 13 times 11 equals 143, and the day has just started.
In D.C. we go. We got word of this story, Dana, about 30 minutes ago. Weren't quite sure, but now we can confirm. The Republican National Headquarters in Washington, D.C. is on lockdown. Now, there was an early report suggesting that was some sort of white powder, perhaps.
Was Hunter in the Republican headquarters office? I want to know.
Perhaps that have been found inside, but that's something that we are trying to confirm at the moment. But you see the police tape up and the law enforcement response, so something's happening inside.
Yeah, just to give you a little bit of context, so like that's right next to the House office building. So I used to live right around the corner from that in a group house. And so you're not talking like someplace that's not in the suburbs, not away. It's like it is across the street from the Cannon House office building, where a lot of the freshmen and junior members of the House have their offices. A lot of young Capitol Hill staffers live right around there. Usually a lot of activity, especially when Congress is in session.
It's 9 o'clock in the morning, and when this was reported, it's about 8:30. So that's 40 minutes ago. You got to think that's the time everybody's showing up for work. And who discovered this and why, we do not know. Lucas Tomlinson's working the story. He's going to join us in a matter of moments.
I'm curious. Like I said, was Hunter Biden in that building? It's right next to the House. You know, it's, I'm wondering. Oh, boy. Yeah. All right. This, friends, is what you call a scripted song and dance. For those that aren't aware, this is the Trump campaign, a.k.a. exposure campaign, a.k.a. the pause. People had to be shown. When were we told patriots were in full control? Did you think it false? Here we go.
Lines out of court today. A live look right now over Trump Tower in New York City, where today Robert Costello is expected to resume his testimony in just a few hours in Donald Trump's alleged hush money trial. The prosecution rested yesterday after 4 days of testimony by Trump's former lawyer Michael Cohen. During cross-examination, Cohen admitted to stealing nearly $60,000 from the Trump Organization.
There's only one crime that I saw in the courtroom today, and that was when Michael Cohen admitted to stealing from the Trump administration. He is a serial liar. He is a convicted perjurer. That's the crime in the courtroom.
You saw what happened, what just took place in that court, and hopefully the motion to dismiss this trial will go through, because this trial is a disaster for our country. It's a disaster for New York State, New York City.
So the timeline here, the judge had previously expected closing arguments could happen as early as today, but now the trial is expected to run until early next week. Closing arguments possibly as early as Tuesday after the Memorial Day holiday. Any updates this morning, we'll have it for you right here on the live desk. Bring it to you as well online all the time at thenationaldesk.com.
Now, they actually do some pretty good reporting. However, they do lean a little bit to the left. It's really a pain in the ass. All right, breaking: new allegations drop against Diddy. He used to be untouchable, but now everybody's coming out of the woodwork. Here we go.
New allegations against P. Diddy. This time, the hip-hop mogul's being accused of drugging and assaulting a model in 2003, according to a lawsuit obtained by TMZ. Crystal McKinney said she met Diddy at a fashion event when she was just 22. She claims she took a hit of Diddy's blunt, which she now says was laced. She says Diddy forced himself on her in a bathroom. She resisted, but then she says she lost consciousness, waking up in a taxi when she realized she was sexually assaulted. Crystal claims she was blackballed from the modeling industry after that, becoming depressed and attempting suicide 2 years later. This comes after the disturbing videos surfaced of hip-hop mogul and Democrat community organizer beating his ex-girlfriend. Some of Diddy's close allies have started talking. Diddy's former assistant said the video didn't surprise her at all.
There was not one cell in my body that was surprised.
Why not?
You know, it's going to sound a little bit weird because I don't have any facts, right? And nobody's going to call me to testify. But I would say that it's woman's intuition.
And Diddy's former head of security, Roger Bonds, says he's seen Diddy get physical with women multiple times.
How many times did you personally witness him be violent towards women?
Around 4 or 5 times. I've seen them get physical. I've seen him get really physical. I've seen him get into some wrestling and punching matches. And sometimes I felt like, what are you mad at? What are you upset about? Because it's a deeper anger when you hitting and punching a woman in that type of manner. But when you have a problem with every woman that you're dealing with, then I think that problem is inside of you.
Diddy used to be untouchable. Now everybody's coming out of the woodwork. Networks are clamoring for interviews with anyone he's ever met, but not all of them go as planned. CNN talked to Cameron.
That kind of anger at all from your
I don't
experiences?
know like that. What did you mean? Do I be recognized? Did I recognize them? I seen them. What do you mean my experiences? I seen them and I thought it was disgusting.
Is there something known in the industry about how Diddy treated his artists?
So I'm going to get some cheeks after this horsepower joint. Who the talent agent for this joint? Like, you think I'll be sitting around watching what Diddy do and all this? I didn't know this was a Diddy joint that y'all invited me to. Who booked me for this joint?
Yeah. He doesn't want to rat because he's on the list. That's what it is. It boils down to who's on the list. Yep. Breaking. Baltimore Board of Elections supervisor believes that flash drives that contain ballots may have been inserted into the voting machines multiple times. I'm leery about saying human error. The explanation I've received in writing right now is not clear. Here we go.
Can you explain what the human error was last week that we heard from the State Board of Elections?
That's a good question. I'm waiting to hear myself.
Well, you're the director.
Well, I am the director. The explanation that I've received in writing right now is not clear and not acceptable.
What do you mean not acceptable?
Well, I know what the system can do and what it's not supposed to do. So until we get clarification from the state, I'm going to leave it there.
There are reports of concerns about a flash drive with votes on it. Based on Jones's responses, it's unclear if the state believes a flash drive was read by a tabulator more than once. So what happened with the flash drive?
Well, let me just say this. A flash drive, according to the system, can only be inserted once. And once it's put in, it cannot duplicate.
Is that what happened?
I don't know that yet. I'm a little leery about saying human error if something can't be done but once.
As it stands right now, you don't necessarily believe what the state is saying.
Well, what I'm saying right now, until I get a definitive answer and response from the vendor, I'm not real satisfied.
Just 2 years ago, election-related flash drives back in the headlines. Drives for 12 precincts in the July 2022 primary were misplaced. Given the history of questions under Jones's supervision, do you believe that you are the right person to oversee the city elections moving forward, given the questions and concerns and issues that we've seen?
Well, let me just say this. In the years that I've been here, there have been some successful elections. Every election that is held in Baltimore or any jurisdiction has its issues. No different than Baltimore City.
Should there be this many issues with an election?
I don't know how many issues you're talking about.
Meanwhile, the canvassing continues and the faces of city council remain undetermined. Now, the State Board of Elections did get back to me, telling me it is still working to root out the cause of the discrepancy that we saw with the Election Day results. In the meantime, the city will continue canvassing ballots, starting with 6,000 provisional ballots. Director Jones says those will be canvassed on Wednesday and then move to the some 8,700 mail-in ballots on Thursday. Live in the newsroom, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Yeah, what it boils down to is there was so much hate for Trump that these people were willing to do anything possible in order to make sure that he did not win. All right, here we go.
Girl, MAGA ain't thinking about you.
You know, women wear makeup, we wear lashes, we wear all types of things to beautify ourselves. But MAGA has historically been on social media doing the things where they're saying, oh, she's black with lashes and nails and hair, and so she's ghetto. And so
what people don't understand, okay, let me clarify something for MAGA. MAGA cares about cheap gas. We care about a country to leave to our kids. We care about schools. We care about crime. MAGA ain't thinking about you and your lashes, sis. We don't think you're ghetto because of your lashes. We think you ghetto because you're ghetto. Like, legit. The way that you were like, huh? What? Does she even know what we're talking about? Like, that was ghetto. That girl says, oh, bleach, blonde, bad built, butch body. Anybody that has seen Marjorie Taylor Greene knows she ain't got no bad built body. Sis is stacked, okay? Like, I'm sorry. She got a banging body, and she works out, and she takes care of herself. And the reason why I think it's kind of corny, I think that is kind of corny, is because black people are always coming at white people. I mean, she said that. I didn't really think that was, I mean, it was just her being black, saying black stuff. Like,
You know it's bad when they turn it against them. When they turn it against them. Yep. All right. If you ever need to know how politics works, this explains it perfectly. Declaration of Memes put this out. Here we go.
A politician dies. Instead of going straight to heaven or hell, a spirit appears to him and says that he gets to choose whether he goes to heaven or hell. The politician replies that of course he wants to go to heaven. The spirit tells him that before he chooses, he has to visit both places so each one will get a fair chance. First, they visit heaven. It looks pretty nice. Big fluffy clouds, angels singing and playing harps, everyone seeming to enjoy themselves. The politician is pleased, if a bit underwhelmed. Hell, on the other hand, is magnificent. It's the most beautiful place the politician has ever seen, and everyone there is having the time of their lives. A beautiful garden. It makes heaven look dull and boring in comparison. I can't believe I'm saying this, says the politician, but I think I'd rather go to hell. Very well, says the spirit. Turn around. When the politician turns around, though, hell appears to be completely different than it had been less than a minute ago. All of the attractions are gone. Everything is on fire, and the people are screaming in agony. I don't understand, cries the politician. This isn't what you showed me before. Well, that was the campaign. Now you've voted. A politician died.
Yeah. Now that you voted, we're going to show you the real thing. Yep, exactly. Speaking of Hunter Biden. Oh, my Lord. Jesse Waters, here we go.
Hunter's exes are coming back to bite him, but not in the way he likes. 3 of his former lovers are expected to take the stand in his felony gun trial, and they're being called to the stand by his father's Justice Department. What a mess. Hunter's ex-wife, Kathleen Boole, will be called. She'd helped the prosecution establish that Hunter was a coke addict when he lied on a federal background check to get his handgun. One of Hunter's ex-girlfriends, Zoe Caston, known as Weed Slut 420, she dated Hunter in 2018. She'd established that Hunter was smoking crack when he lied on his federal firearms form. And finally, there's Bo's widow, Haley Biden. Hunter had a sexual relationship with his brother's widow. She was the one who tossed the gun in a trash can by the school that Hunter blamed on Mexicans. Her lawyer says she'll refuse to testify if she's called, but just hours ago, the special counsel filed a court order that would compel her to show up and testify. The gun trial begins in 2 weeks on June 3rd, and his tax case starts June 20th. Hunter's going to be in court more than Trump. That's not the way the Bidens planned it.
Nope. That's definitely not how they planned it, but that's what they're going to get. Yep. All right, let's get into some natural law. Script Keeper put this out. I thought this was pretty good. Here we go.
Script Keeper.
Natural law, therefore, is a set of universal, non-man-made, binding and unchangeable conditions which govern the behavioral consequence of beings with the capacity for holistic intelligence. Natural law governs the aggregate or collective, free will behavioral choices of entire populations by manifesting the consequences of the behaviors that we choose. The consequences which we receive are always dependent upon whether our chosen behaviors are either moral or immoral. or in other words, right or wrong. While we all have free will to choose which behaviors we will conduct, we are not insulated from the moral consequences of our behavioral choices. Natural law is a body of laws that operate within the unseen or non-physical realm, so they may be considered to be occulted or hidden laws of nature. These laws are built into the fabric of reality, just like gravity and electromagnetism. However, since these governing dynamics operate in the non-physical realm, human beings must incorporate a much wider worldview in order to recognize and accept the existence and operation of these laws. The understanding of natural law is absolutely not a belief system or a religion. The workings of natural law can be discovered and understood through its observable, measurable, and repeatable effects in our world. In other words, the understanding of natural law actually constitutes a science of morality, which requires no belief or faith. Belief or disbelief in these laws is completely irrelevant, as they exist as surely as any physical law, such as gravity, which we take for granted in daily life.
Fox News alert. House Republicans say they have new documents that show Hunter Biden lied to Congress under oath. 2 IRS whistleblowers provided docs to the House that they claim prove Hunter perjured himself at least 3 times. Hunter lied to Congress about using his dad's name to shake down a Chinese businessman for $5 million. He lied about controlling a bank account for his shady firm, and he lied about helping a foreigner obtain a visa. Hunter's lawyer told Fox this: "Here they go again, grasping at straws and twisting Hunter's testimony to try to revive an impeachment inquiry that was a complete and utter failure." The House is also releasing a document from one of the IRS whistleblowers claiming the CIA blocked them from interviewing Hunter's sugar brother, Kevin Morris. According to the document, an assistant U.S. attorney, Leslie Wolf, had a classified meeting with the CIA at Langley and was told Morris was untouchable. She didn't tell the investigators why they couldn't interview Morris, but she did tell them that she picked up a mug from the CIA gift shop on the way out. Why would the CIA protect the Hollywood lawyer keeping Hunter above water? And why does the CIA have a gift shop? And tonight we're also finding out Hunter's tax trial just got pushed back to September. His gun trial, where 3 ex-lovers will testify, still starts in June, but the tax trial, we expect to run the whole month of September, right before the election, maybe into October. This is a nightmare for the Biden family and the campaign. Miranda Devine's a New York Post columnist. A lot of significant developments here. What do you think's the most impactful?
Jesse, I think the lying, of course, is pretty important when he lied under oath, but we've seen other people lie under oath to Congress and nothing has ever come of it. So not holding my breath. I think that the CIA aspect of this is very curious. I've just been researching a book, and it seems that the CIA's shadowy hand is behind a lot of the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden influence peddling saga, both during Joe Biden's vice presidency and beyond. And, you know, we've already seen that the Dirty 51 letter, that dishonest letter written by 51 former intelligence operatives, most of them from the CIA, including 5 former CIA directors, that letter saying that Hunter's laptop was Russian disinformation, which it wasn't, just before the election was really amounted to election interference. And if, in fact, as there is suggestion, that there were active CIA people involved in vetting that letter and clearing it, then we're talking about a very serious issue where the intelligence agencies will have been proven to have intervened on Joe Biden's behalf to rig the election. And on top of the fact that here it seems that they were trying to intervene in the Hunter Biden investigation in Delaware on Hunter's behalf to prevent the investigators from talking to his sugar brother, who was an integral part of the tax investigation because, of course, he gave more than $6 million or lent to Hunter to pay off his tax debts and to fund his lavish lifestyle.
Yeah, and we also remember the whistleblower for the Trump perfect phone call. Such a perfect phone call.
Yes.
Was CIA as well. So is the sugar brother an asset? And is that $6 million he loaned to Hunter even his money?
Very good question. And look, if he's being protected by the CIA, he must have been useful in some way. And remember that Hunter Biden himself was on the board of a CIA cutout. He was placed on that just before he went to Burisma in Ukraine.
Which cutout was that? That charity group?
It's called, it's part of the NED, the National Endowment for Democracy. It's the subset of that the Democrats are involved in.
Wow.
And more comes out. More comes out. All right, Red Pill Bot, put this out. Here we go.
If you're wondering what's going on with Ukraine right now, follow along with me for a minute. Karl Marx created the foundation of what is happening in Ukraine today. His real name was Karl Heinrich Mordecai Marx. The father of Karl Marx was Herschel Mordecai, who was the son of Rabbi Mordecai Marx Levi, who was the son of Samuel ben Mordecai Ha Levi, who was the son of Laius ben Mordecai, who in the 1400s, Laius Mordecai changed his name from Mordecai to Schwab. So the Schwab bloodline today is the bloodline of Karl Marx. But wait, there's more. Laius ben Mordecai Schwab was the son of Samuel Leopold Schwab II, who had changed his name from Guntberger to Schwab in the 1500s. And he was the son of Samuel Guntberger, who changed his name from Bauer to Guntberger. And the Bauer bloodline was originally named the Bacharachs during the time of Christ. The Bacharachs in 1501 changed their name to Bauer. And then 76 years later, in 1577, they changed their name to Rothschild. So they're all related. You guys have to go check out this video of Bishop Larry Gators talking about Russia, Ukraine, the CIA, and the Rothschild conspiracy to take out Vladimir Putin. It is absolutely just...
Yeah, I actually seen that. It's actually a good one. It was too long for me to play on here, though. Notice the Nazi cabal.
We do not worship government, we worship God. And I can tell you, we all worship God, and you will be shown where God resides. And you thought you got rid of me back in the 60s. But let me tell you, I'm back. I just have a bit different looks. But my soul and the idea has never changed. We're taking you all down now. The globalist deep state and the cabal, you're finished. And you get to know what it means when we say, where we go one, we go all.
America's enemies must never know our plans or believe they can weigh us out. I will not say when we are going to attack, but attack we will.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be some things coming up here that are going to even shock us a little bit. A little bit. You know. Hunger Games. So wild. Thank you so much. You rock. Please keep up your amazing research. Very much appreciated.
Is to show you just how valid that thought is. Now on this little series here, which if you want to catch up, you can follow that comment back. I've already taken you from the Met Gala to Mount Rushmore and even give you a breadcrumb to the Titanic. Well, we're going to get into that right now. For entertainment purposes, of course, because I know absolutely nothing and I'm just making this stuff up. All right, now in my last video, I introduced you to Oscar Strauss. He was a cabinet member for Teddy Roosevelt and the first of his kind to do so. I also showed you where Oscar and his family were from. And just so we're clear, that's where come from. Now, Oscar had two brothers, Nathan and Isidore. Might want to buckle your seatbelts for this one.
Nathan and Isidore Strauss were the owners of Macy's department store in New York City. On a trip to the land of Israel in 1912, Nathan fell in love with the country while Isidore decided to leave, returning home on the Titanic.
All right, first we're going to talk about Nathan. Not only did he play a big part in the whole Macy's department store, but he was also a big player in creating pasteurized milk. Or did he? Oh, and fun fact, the Strausses didn't actually create Macy's. They bought it with the help of their dad, this guy here, Lazarus Strauss, who was not only a slave owner, but liked to keep it all in the family. All right, now back to Nathan. Not only did he help create pasteurized milk, but he also has a city named after him in a certain area, as well as a street.
Remained in the land of Israel. He opened a school, a health clinic, and other charity institutions, something for which he was also known in America. The city of Netanya was named after Nathan Strauss in 1927, as well as Strauss Street in Jerusalem.
Oh, and if anyone's curious, Nathan and his wife are both Now, not only did the Strausses buy Macy's, but they also bought out another company that they later named Abram and Strauss. And who were their partners in that little venture? Well, is one of them. Nathan was also supposed to be on the Titanic with his brother, this guy here, Isidore. Now, Isidore and his wife were the ones that went down with the Titanic. In fact, this couple was even featured in the movie.
We've been together for 40 years, and where you go, I go. Don't argue with me, Isidore. You know that's no...
And to make this whole thing even more weird, you might recognize his great-great-granddaughter from a little thing called Watergate.
Incredibly, Wendy Rush, the wife of Stockton Rush, the controversial pilot of the ill-fated submersible, is the great-great-granddaughter of that real-life couple, Isidore and Ida Strauss.
Now, Isidore's brother Nathan wasn't the only one connected to the Rothschilds. Isidore was part of a little group called the Mutual Alliance Trust Company with William Rockefeller. You know, the same trust company that took over the Federal Reserve. But we'll have to save that for another video. Y'all stay safe.
This guy dropped some good stuff, didn't he? There was
You're wondering.
I want to go back up here for a second and grab there we go. This link here and drop this into the chat because I know that there was a couple of people who asked for it in regards to the politicians going to heaven. Now we got that covered.
Fox
to our next one. Here we go. This is their greatest fear, a people united.
I know most of y'all out here got a lot of hate in their heart, but God finna make it to where we're gonna be forced to do this.
Yep.
Yep. It's the only way it's gonna work. I know most of y'all out here got a lot of hate.
Yep. It's the only way it's going to work. All right. Pismo says this young lady knocks it out of the park. You hate Trump because...
Video. It ended up being a 5-minute video. So we're going to try to shorten this up. Questions for the left. Did you hate President Trump because he made animal cruelty a felony? Did you hate President Trump because he gave billions to stop the opioid crisis? Did you hate him because he did want to build a wall at our borders to keep us safe from drugs and criminals from coming in? Did you hate the fact that he slashed medication prices, some by 50%, driving Big Pharma nuts? How about the fact that he signed a Save Our Seas Act, giving $10 million a year to help clean up our oceans from plastic and debris? Or that he's made thousands of arrests in child trafficking and crimes against humanity? He brought home 40 Americans that were held hostage in other countries. He didn't leave them behind. Or the fact he's done more for Black communities than the last 5 presidents combined. You hate President Trump because he was making the world pay their fair share for the UN for protection? Do you hate the fact that he loves and respects our cops, first responders, and veterans? Did you hate him because he's been the only sitting president to step foot in South Korea to make a peace treaty? Most people thought we'd be in World War III right now with Korea. Prison reform, VA reform, I could go on and on. How about the fact that he kept every campaign promise with zero support from Congress? Or that he worked for free, giving his salary to charities? Some people don't know is Donald Trump was a billionaire when he went into office. When he came out, he was worth a third less because he loves America that much. I am not a blind follower. I am not a Trump Nazi. I will support any president that does good by this country. And the bottom line is, President Trump did a damn good job. I think it's sad. I think there are a lot of people on the left that are very hypocritical. I think there are a lot of double standards. President Trump couldn't sneeze in the wrong direction without getting persecuted, without getting threatened to be impeached. But yet our current president could technically be an accomplice to murder, have blood all over his hands, leave Americans behind, leave working dogs behind, drive our country into the ground, leave our borders open for migrants to come over that are unvaccinated or possibly have COVID, and also put America in danger to possible terrorist attacks. And crickets. Video.
Okay. All right. I want to hit this topic real quick because I see it going on in the chat. All right. Let's be clear about something. The Titanic never sunk. It was the sister ship, the Olympic, that sunk. Okay. The Olympic on its maiden voyage had an incident with a military frigate from the British Royal Navy. It tore a gash down the entire length of the side of the Olympic. They covered it with pig iron. They painted it identical to the Titanic. And that was the ship that all the people got onto and died on. The original Titanic was taken to was either taken to the Arctic or the Antarctic, I don't remember which, and hidden, and still remains so. They switched the ships because the Olympia could not, no, it was the Olympic was unable to get an insurance payout because it was their fault that the frigate hit them. Okay. They pulled out of port without proper instruction and did not notify the harbor master that they were pulling out. Therefore, there were no flags waved in order to stop any of the military ships coming into port. And that's what ended up hitting them. And that is where that is. If you would like the full story on that, you can go to Hawks Mustard Seeds on Rumble and watch the video that I did where I read the book, The Kid by the Side of the Road, which gives the complete breakdown as to the Olympic and the Titanic. And I go into it quite extensively through the book. Okay. So, yeah. All right. Actually, if you look up H1M7Q on Rumble, you'll find my channel, Hawks Mustard Seed, on there, and that's how you find me. All right. That's the only video I have up there currently. It's I have not paid for a Rumble upload thing yet because I got too many other things to pay for. I got dogs to take care of and stuff, so I have not done that yet. And right now it's enough just paying to keep StreamYard going. All right. Senator John Kennedy, Republican from Louisiana, questions human rights researcher for the ACLU, Jennifer Turner, and convicted murderer and now prison reform activist Terrence Wynn. Take a listen.
Ms. Turner, I want to be sure I understand your testimony. You think prison labor should be voluntary? Is that the ACLU position? Yes. Okay. And do you think,
I'm sorry, my microphone was off, if I may answer on my own.
Yes, ma'am. Did you answer yes?
My answer is that the majority of incarcerated workers wish to work, but it is vital that that work be truly voluntary and that there is no place for forced labor in the United States. Yes.
Okay. And you think that prisoners who do work are underpaid? Is that the ACLU position?
They are underpaid or unpaid. In your state, many of those workers are unpaid.
Okay. Let's take a maintenance worker, which I assume includes people working in the kitchen. What do you think the starting pay ought to be in my state for a prisoner?
Workers should be paid the minimum wage of the state where they live. And there are true fiscal arguments in favor
minimum wage. Is
minimum wage. Yes.
Do you think prisoners should have a 401k?
I think that my opinion is not what we're asking about. I'm here to provide information and context for the committee.
Do you think prisoners should be provided with a 401k?
If I may answer, the reality is that if we paid incarcerated workers a minimum wage, it would have net fiscal benefits for the United States.
I'm trying to ask you
workers to be able to pay.
About benefits.
Yes.
Do you think they should be provided with a 401k?
Workers should be eligible to earn into the social safety net. If they're paid minimum wage, workers will be able to earn into social security benefits to support themselves. That does not include a 401k, but I'm talking about basic social safety net.
Do you think prisoners should be entitled to paid vacation?
Workers should be entitled to workers' compensation when they're injured or maimed on the job, which happens all too often.
So they should be covered under our workers' comp law?
Yes, absolutely. Workers are working in dangerous
allowed
conditions.
To unionize?
Yes.
You believe that too? Okay.
It's vital that workers
should prisoners be provided with health insurance matched by their employer?
Workers should be covered by workplace health and safety guarantees. Incarcerated
Yes, but
people.
what about health insurance?
Incarcerated people are already guaranteed a basic standard of health care. That is already guaranteed by U.S. law.
Health insurance.
They're already guaranteed that, even though the medical care they receive is usually substandard, and when they're injured or on the job, often receive substandard care. They are already guaranteed by law basic health care protections while incarcerated.
Mr. Wynn, what crime did you commit?
Second-degree murder and attempted second-degree murder.
Okay. Who did you murder?
Jeffrey Owens.
Jeffrey Owen?
Yes, sir.
Why did you murder him?
I was a 16-year-old kid. Jeffrey, me and DeWan had a confrontation, and Jeffrey was an innocent bystander.
Okay. So you shot Jeffrey by accident?
Yes, sir.
You intended to murder somebody else?
I was defending myself against DeWan Lewis.
Okay. Mr. Lewis, you shot at Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
And you missed?
Yes, sir.
And you hit Mr. What was his name?
Mr. Jeffrey Owens.
Mr. Owens?
Yes, sir.
Did Mr. Owens have a mother?
I think everybody born in the world has a mother.
Yeah. But was his mother alive when
Yes.
you killed him?
She's still alive.
Okay. Did Mr. Owens have a father?
Yes,
Who
sir.
was alive when you killed him?
I don't know about his father's.
You never checked?
I mean, as a prisoner in Louisiana, you cannot check on those
Did
type of
Mr.
things.
Owens have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, he did.
Okay. How many?
I don't know.
Okay. You mentioned that your mother cried when you were sent to Angola. Do you know how Mr. Owens' mother felt?
Dang, do you know how Mr. Owens' mother felt after you killed him? Do you know? Yeah. Big question there, isn't it? Yep. 100%. I mean, therefore I am. I'm just going to play this one, guys.
And we're obviously not going to release her name. So I'll kind of go over the facts. It's a 15-year-old female victim, and we're obviously not going to release her name. The two suspects were LaTanya Ann Harris, 40 years old of Thibodaux, and Terrence Washington, 41 years of Thibodaux. This one's a tough one. It's a real tough one. But we have Baytown, we have a representative for Baytown Police Department. We thank you from the bottom of our heart. It's a tough one. And my detectives, thank you. Thank you. Because we're gonna make sure justice is served for that victim. To give you some more facts, on April 21st, 2024, at approximately 8:30, Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office was notified by DCFS of an abuse case that is being investigated by Baytown Police Department. The abuse was discovered as a result of a traffic crash investigated which occurred on I-10 East in Baytown, Texas. When Baytown officers arrived on the scene, they located a driver armed with a handgun who was taken into custody by Baytown Police Department. Baytown PD located 2 adults and 2 juveniles in the vehicle. The adult driver was identified as Terrence Washington. Adult from the front passenger was identified as LaTanya Harris, along with a 10-year-old and a 15-year-old female passengers. The 15-year-old female was found to be suffering from large-scale burns to the majority of her upper body and multiple gunshot wounds. She was transported to a local hospital in a home in Houston, Texas area. Through the investigation, detectives learned that mid-February 2024, the juvenile female was burned after LaTanya Harris had learned of a sexual assault committed on the juvenile by her fiance, Terrence Washington. Harris burned the juvenile with flammable liquid in a lighter at the Thibodaux residence in Terrebonne. It was later determined that the victim received 3rd and 4th degree burns over 30% of her body. Since the intentional burning in mid-February, Harris and Washington both denied medical treatment to the juvenile. In the weeks leading to April 21st, a wreck, Terrence Washington shot Terrence Washington shot the juvenile on 2 separate days within the residence. Washington Harrison placed the 2 juveniles in a vehicle where they drove to Texas and crashed while Washington was driving recklessly. The juvenile was found with life-threatening injuries and being treated for gunshots and burns injuries by multiple hospitals in the Houston, Texas area. LaTanya was arrested for 1 count of attempted first-degree murder, 1 count of second-degree cruelty to a juvenile, and 1 count of domestic abuse, battery, and a child endangerment. Harris is currently being held in Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's for a $1 million bond. Terrence Washington is being held in Harris County, Texas, without bond on multiple criminal charges that occurred in Texas. Arrest warrants have been obtained in Terrebonne Parish for 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder, 1 count of second-degree cruelty to a juvenile, 1 count of molestation of a juvenile, 1 count of obstruction of justice, 3 counts of indecent behavior with a juvenile, and 5 counts of second-degree rape. Washington is also being held without bond. This case can shock anybody's conscience. But one thing I vow, we're going to work very hard with a district attorney, and we're going to find justice for that victim. She deserves that, and I promise you I won't sleep till we know that young lady gets the justice she deserves.
Timothy Johnson and his wife Latricia say their relative escaped from a house of horrors. Now she's in a hospital recovering from horrific injuries. Half of her face is burned off.
The doctor said, brace yourself before you walk in.
Walked in the room. I fell. My sister and the nurse had to try to grab me.
Timothy says on April 21st, he got the call from a Houston hospital and Child Protective Services. He thought it was some kind of sick, twisted joke, so he hung up. Come to find out, his worst nightmare was his new reality. Police say the 15-year-old was sexually assaulted for months in a Terrebonne Parish trailer, set on fire, and shot in the face and chest.
Killed to dead. I don't know how I feel. I'm confused. I'm hurt. I'm angry.
At that point, it went from shocked and confused to devastating and hurt, and why.
Now, the Johnsons say the girl is permanently disfigured. So far, they tell me she's lost multiple teeth, had an eye removed, and underwent lengthy skin graft procedures. The teen has an upcoming surgery to repair her palate and mouth, with many more extensive and invasive surgeries ahead.
They took a lot away from her, physically, mentally, and emotionally.
They say her traumas are starting to surface.
It's hurting to hear her tell me everything she went through. And no one had a clue. She said, he got power, he know people. She was scared.
40-year-old LaTanya Harris and her 41-year-old boyfriend Terrence Washington are charged in connection with the crimes after a car crash in Texas ultimately led to the discovery of the abuse.
You have to be a monster to tell a child to make it seem like it's her fault.
The Johnsons live 20 minutes from the home in Thibodaux, where police say most of the abuse happened.
If you didn't want her, you could have brought her back. You could have called. We would have came got her. You just could have brought her back to where she was loved at.
They describe the 15-year-old victim, who they call Little Bit, as bright, fun, feisty, loving, and sweet.
Every day, all day. She's in good spirits. She is laughing. She has her days, but she's thriving, she's fighting, she's surviving.
Relatives say she wants to be an attorney and help mentor other children stuck in the cycle of abuse.
I think that's going to be her calling. That's going to be her ministry. Despite everything she's been through, she doesn't hate anyone.
Through all of it, they're in awe of her resiliency.
This kid going through all this, and she worrying about me being stressed.
The Johnsons started a GoFundMe to cover the medical costs.
She told us one night, she said, even though I'm still in the hospital and I'm ready to come home, I feel so free.
I feel free. I'm finally free.
What a story, huh? This is the kind of things that happen to children every day, and people just don't know about it. And the thing is, why wasn't that broadcast on every national news platform worldwide? We have to really question the integrity of our news. Yeah. Joe Biden's tax proposal increases taxes by $5 trillion. It will affect the middle class. Let me tell you, it's going to affect the poor class too. Here we go.
Mr. President, President Biden released his budget on Monday, and predictably, it was filled with the same old tired tax and spending proposals. So much spending and so many taxes. All told, the president's budget raises taxes by a staggering $5 trillion. You heard that right. $5 trillion. His corporate tax hike and capital gains tax proposals would both raise rates higher than those in communist China. Many small businesses would see a hefty tax hike under the president's proposal, and most Americans would see an income tax hike, as his budget would allow current income tax rates to expire after 2025. So much for the president's commitment to not raising taxes for anyone making under $400,000 a year. Mr. President, something President Biden and Democrats never seem to understand is that raising taxes has consequences. The corporate tax hike that President Biden would like you to believe will be borne by CEOs and CFOs. In fact, that tax hike would hit working Americans hard. Studies have shown that workers bear a huge percentage of the burden of corporate income taxes. And impacts aren't just limited to workers employed by corporations. Corporate tax hikes can hit all Americans in the form of higher prices for goods and services. Or take President Biden's proposed tax hike on gas and oil, which would be on top of the energy tax hikes he's already imposed. Taxing energy can drive up the cost of Americans' energy bills and make it more expensive every time Americans have to fill up their cars. Not exactly a desirable outcome when Americans have already seen huge increases in energy prices under President Biden. And Mr. President, as I said, all of those tax hikes are accompanied by a lot of new spending proposals as President Biden continues his mission to increase the size and the intrusiveness of the federal government. His budget includes massive new spending programs and big increases for government departments and agencies like the IRS. Yet even as the president uses budget gimmicks and accounting tricks to blow through the non-defense spending cap for 2025, he makes no attempt to use any of his budget sleight of hand to address the serious readiness problems facing our military. The president spent ample time in his State of the Union address talking about the dangerous world in which we live. And he's right. Yet his budget makes little attempt to ensure that our military is equipped to meet the dangerous world. Mr. President, we have military services well below their recruitment targets. We are behind on shipbuilding and ship maintenance. There's a persistent pilot shortage, and in a number of cases, we have too few mission-capable aircraft. And we're not doing an adequate job of maintaining the kind of supply we need of munitions. Yet President Biden is happy to blow through the non-defense spending cap, but can't find an extra dollar in his budget for our military. This president says a lot about the president's priorities. It's also worth noting that the president's budget makes absolutely no attempt to ensure that Social Security is protected for current and future retirees. With Social Security on track to run out of money to pay full benefits in 2033, you would think that the president would be focused on safeguarding this program rather than creating new government programs that have to be funded. But clearly, you'd be wrong. Mr. President, this year, the interest on our national debt is projected to cost more than any government expenditure except Social Security. Let me just repeat that. This year, the interest on our national debt is projected to cost more than any government expenditure except Social Security. That's just the interest on our debt. When the interest alone on your national debt is the second highest line item in your budget, you know you are on an unsustainable fiscal path. And it is the height of fiscal irresponsibility for the president to be proposing massive new government programs where we're going into debt just to afford the ones we already have. Mr. President, I could go on. I could talk about the president's request for $8 billion to hire an additional 50,000 Americans for his climate corps, like so-called climate resilience workers. Or I could talk about the president's attempt to force American taxpayers to pay for abortions. Or the eye-wateringly large funding increase the president wants for the IRS. But I'll stop here. And I hope my colleagues will agree that for the sake of the American people, the president's budget should be dead on arrival here in the Congress. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Well, do you think it's going to be? No, because you're going to end up with a couple of Republicans and all the Democrats voting for it. Don't you know? Yep. All right. Anger management. Here we go.
With Judge Cannon and the Jack Smith team.
So yes, I just got home to our place in Jupiter from the federal courthouse in Fort Pierce, Florida. There were 2 hearings today related to Special Counsel Jack Smith's espionage and obstruction case against Donald Trump. The former president was not there, but these were related to 2 motions from his co-defendant, Waltine Nauta, his valet at the White House, who then went to work for him at Mar-a-Lago, who was also charged in this case. And I'll tell you, Steve, the special counsel's team, the special counsel team's frustration with Judge Cannon is really boiling over. And you had prosecutor David Harbach. There's 2 prosecutors, Harbach and Jay Bratt. And Harbach is usually the smoother, calmer one of the 2. Jay Bratt's just a little petulant man. And David Harbach just really lost his cool repeatedly today, pounding on the podium, like clapping his hands in anger, not in a happy way, in anger, as he was trying to emphasize certain arguments, called one of the defense motions garbage, said that it was not fair that they were having to sit and listen to this defense motion, and the defense attorney explaining it. At one point, Judge Cannon looked at David Harbach and said, I need to ask you to calm down, because he was just completely losing it. And I think this is just a manifestation of her unsealing and unredacting all of this evidence. Steve, they never thought that the American people would see the details about the Mar-a-Lago raid from August 2022. They never thought that operations order that I posted yesterday would see the light of day. And they are so ticked off at Judge Cannon for making this stuff available, because she wants us to see how dirty, sloppy, and corrupt this investigation and case has been since the very beginning. So that sort of spilled out in this hearing today. One of the 2 prosecutors, who usually has cooler head, really just having one mini temper tantrum after another.
Yeah. Gotta love it, right? Yep. All right. No way, Jack Straw says. Here we go.
There is no way that Trump just said this.
Are we going to be considered 3-term?
So this was just Saturday, May 18th, 2024, while Trump was giving a speech at the National Rifle Association. Talks about how FDR had 4 terms and then poses the question that you're going to want to see right here.
FDR, 16 years, almost 16 years. He was 4-term. I don't know. Are we going to be considered 3-term or 2-term? You tell me. Ronnie, what do you think? Are we 3-term or 2-term if we run?
Of course, the fake news is losing their minds and wants to say that Trump is unfit. Politico goes on and on about how this is against the Constitution. He could never do it. But because I'm limited of the things I'm allowed to talk about on this app, you basically just have to look at the Constitution a little bit deeper. And you have to look at executive orders that presidents are allowed to pass. And you have to look at emergency powers that presidents are allowed to use. This is all allegedly. I'm not saying that anyone did anything, but it is there for presidents to use. Most recent thing, too, that people are loving to push right now is the pause. The pause. You're going to have to put 2 and 2 together there to figure out how these two things parallel. But juicy stuff, guys. God bless you and have a good day.
Yep. Everybody's beginning to pull little things out and recognize and see them for what they are. Okay, so yesterday, Crash outside the Matrix made a big fucking fiasco. Okay, and the reason I'm going to say that is because, you know, I really hate people's stupidity. Okay, I really, really do. Okay, and I'm gonna pull this up here. Give me a second here to. Okay, let's show this thread. All right, so outside the Matrix says Trump falsely claimed Tuesday that President Biden was locked and loaded, ready to take me out during the FBI's court-authorized search of Mar-a-Lago in August 2022. Crash, you're fucking up big time. I don't know what the hell your problem is. I like showing your content, but I will never show anybody anything that you ever put out again. Okay? Because I'm going to tell you right now, not only is mainstream news covering this, but everybody else is as well. Okay. And the fact that, you know, that it's really, you know, being brought to the forefront right now, people are going to realize that maybe you are a shill. Maybe you are a Fed. Okay. You should be disgusted with yourself. Okay. Because everybody's talking about the fact, and it wasn't Donald Trump who told us that they were authorized to go in with lethal force. It was the news who told us. News unlocks the map.
Someone who knows this is Liz Harrington. We have a new piece up on War Room. I want, if Grace and Mo could be so kind, and Carly Bonet over at the Midnight Rider, Elizabeth at our Telegram, everybody else, to push this hard. Liz Harrington, you've written a piece about this very topic, ma'am. Your thoughts?
Hey, good morning. You know, one thing I have to disagree with is this actually is standard operating procedure for the FBI. They've been doing it quite some time, and they admitted in their statement in reaction to this that this is the normal operating procedure for all of our raids. So we set you up, and then we try to kill you. They're admitting it, Steve. This is exactly what they do. They've done it to countless people in this country, and it takes President Trump to shine a light on all of this once again. But they set this whole thing up. This whole thing was a farce. They're his personal presidential records. They're his. They come, he was cooperating for months. They come, set this in motion, try to do it in secret. And, you know, I might be wrong about this, but if I remember correctly, he was not supposed to be in New York that day. He was supposed to be in Mar-a-Lago. At the last minute, he changed his plan. So I think they were planning for President Trump to be there. And they wanted something to happen because this is what they do. Standard procedure, standard protocols. They put trade advisors in leg irons at the airport in public and then throw them in prison. They do pre-dawn raids and tip off CNN so you can watch it live. How many associates, aides, lawyers have been raided by the FBI? So can a dictatorship happen in America? Yeah, you better believe it can happen because it's happening right now. And it's a bunch of unelected bureaucrats. No matter how much they try to dress it up in suits, these are thugs. This is what happens in a third world country. And it's happening right here in the United States of America. Thank God we still have some freedom and freedom of the press, and we're getting this information out. But it's happening before your eyes. And if you're just going to try to deny it, you're putting your head in the sand at this point.
Very powerful, and you're right. We're dealing with a dictatorship right now, and we're going to overthrow it. So suck on that dictatorship, deep state, administrative state. Morning, Mika. You're going to have the sad, Mika, your face is going to be a lot sadder on the morning you take to do the show on the 6th of November. Trust me. Liz, where do people go get this article? Where do you get all your content, ma'am?
Warroom.org. It just went up. Go to X, Twitter. I'm at Real Liz USA, True Social at Real Liz USA.
Amazing work, Liz Harrington. Welcome back to the tribe. Fantastic work. Okay, short commercial break.
Yep. And we're going to hear more about this because not only are we going to cover it from that avenue, but there's going to be others here that are also covering this. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to scroll down to a few of them making the statement that that in fact the FBI was given a direct or directive from the White House and from the DOJ that if it boiled down to it, use lethal force. Okay. And if you know, this is the thing is these podcasters come on and what they do is they latch on to these other people. Okay. They don't catch the little quirks and things, you know, that in people's personalities and so on and so forth, that would generally stop you from continuing to follow these people. Okay. They just go ahead and continue to follow them. And then they begin to show you who they really are. Okay. And, you know, basically that's exactly what this woman has done was she gathered a whole bunch of Trump supporters around herself by using other people and other people's comments and so on and so forth. And you know, basically has shown a light on herself that she, in fact, is full of it. Okay. Because it wasn't Donald Trump who notified the American people that these people were doing this. It was the regular mainstream news who did it. And I'm looking to get down to the articles in regards to this. Give me a second here. Okay. But being authorized to use lethal force against former president of the United States is unprecedented. Unprecedented. Okay. And it's like, here we go. All right. Here's one with this fool.
There are, however, certain points I want you to know. First, I personally approve the decision to seek a search warrant in this matter. Second, the department does not take such a decision lightly. There are, however, certain points I want you to know. First, I personally approve the decision to seek a search warrant in this matter. Second, the department does not take such a decision lightly.
So this guy approved it right from the get-go, authorized lethal force. Authorized lethal force. Oh, here we go. Jesse Waters.
Major bombshell in the Trump documents case. The FBI authorized the use of deadly force during the Mar-a-Lago raid. This according to documents filed by Trump's legal team. Agents in unmarked polo shirts planned to bring standard issue weapons, ammo, handcuffs, medium and large size bolt cutters, and even lock picking equipment as they prepared to go door to door at Mar-a-Lago. And they did, ransacking Melania Trump's bedroom along with Barron Trump's bedroom. The FBI also took extensive photographs of Melania and Barron's rooms for no apparent reason. Think about this for a second. Joe Biden sent men with guns to his political opponent's house and turned their bedrooms upside down. That's never happened in the history of the United States. And we've had some crazy presidents. This was the former first lady and a professional model. These people are sick. And Biden complains about his son's privacy, hunters. He had armed men rummage through Barron's bedroom. The FBI even allegedly had a medic on site in case someone was shot. Trump reacting, quote, "Wow, I just came out of the Biden witch hunt trial in Manhattan, the icebox, and was shown reports that crooked Joe Biden's DOJ and their illegal and unconstitutional raid of Mar-a-Lago authorized the FBI to use deadly lethal force. Now we know for sure that Joe Biden's a serious threat to democracy. He is mentally unfit to hold office. 25th Amendment. Trump's lawyers claim that the former president's constitutional rights were violated. It was an illegal search and seizure. The FBI misled the judge to obtain the warrant, and the raid was executed in an egregious fashion and in bad faith. Nor was there any basis for the FBI to bring firearms into Mar-a-Lago. What was life-threatening about pieces of paper? The FBI improperly seized Trump's passports, tax and accounting information, even medical records. Think about that. The Biden administration seized his political opponent's medical records. Who signed off on it?
I personally approved the decision to seek a search warrant in this matter. Second, the department does not take such a decision lightly.
Remember, the New York Times reported that Biden wanted his AG to, quote, act less like a ponderous judge and more like a prosecutor willing to take on Trump. This all came from the top, just like the Jan 6 case, the Fannie case, Alvin Bragg's workshop in Manhattan, where today both sides rested.
Resting, meaning resting the case. I won't be resting. I don't rest. I like to rest sometimes, but I don't get to rest.
Trump won't take the stand, but the jury's dismissed until next Tuesday, where they're not supposed to see the news or talk about the case. So the judge stops the case dead in its tracks and tells the jury to go home for a week and not look at their phones. Now, I don't know about your phone, but my phone has alerts. Ping, Biden falls again. Ping, Trump up 8 in Georgia. Ping, Trump's a dictator. How many hoaxes are they going to blanket the country with this week to pierce the make-believe bubble the jury's supposed to be in? And how do you not talk to your wife or husband for a week about the case? How do you go to a Memorial Day barbecue in New York without at least one chatty Cathy with Trump derangement syndrome? Alvin Bragg's star witness is a lying lawyer and a suicidal thief who tried selling anti-Trump T-shirts to the jury and wants to run for Congress. The other star witness is a smutty ghostbuster who has sex with men for money on camera. Behind the scenes, Bragg's office has never felt more embarrassed.
All of my colleagues and all the people that I worked with in the DA's office have all said to me, Eric, go out and talk about this. You have the experience to address it. And they're actually have all unanimously, whether they like President Trump or never Trumpers, have said they're embarrassed by the DA's office bringing this type of case. And it's destroyed the integrity of my old office.
You know, it's blowing up when Rachel Maddow's back on TV begging for help.
The history of the rule of law in this country tells us that the rule of law does not magically defend itself. And it is mortal. It can be killed. When it is attacked, it breaks. In the, noble alternate version of this history that we'd like to imagine we would be part of, the whole country would be up in arms about Georgia and about New York and about all of these cases, telling these people to back off the judges, back off the witnesses and the jurors, back off the prosecutors, back off Fani Willis, protect these cases, protect the rule of law.
Maddow is saying that Fannie, Alvin, Jack, and Judge Merchan aren't just lawyers and judges. They are the rule of law. It's like when Fauci said, when you attack me, you attack science. Now, if you attack a prosecutor for spending taxpayer money on sexual kickbacks, you're attacking the rule of law. Fannie has to be protected at all costs because the Biden campaign can't win without her. Maddow was in rehab mode last night.
We are not going to allow people to be attacked while they do their job. Having prosecutors that are free from interference and are allowed to just look at cases, look at the facts, and if people broke the law to bring charges, has to go on for us to live in a free society. The sad part, though, for all of them, Ms. Maddow, is it doesn't matter how many times they attack me. I am not going to be broken.
Fannie can lie, cheat, and steal, but she's the rule of law. And the rule of law can't be attacked. And if the prosecutor is a black woman, then attacking the rule of law is also racist.
14 minorities were elected to office to serve as district attorney. And now all of a sudden they need an oversight committee to look after district attorneys because they want to tell us how to prosecute and who to prosecute and where we should put our resources. Apparently we now need daddy to tell us how to do our job.
14 DAs don't need oversight, just one. We're talking about Willis. Fannie doesn't need a daddy. She has one.
Did she say anything to you about having a large savings of cash?
Oh, no, no. See, maybe, excuse me, and Your Honor, I'm not trying to be racist, okay? But it's a black thing, okay?
Well, Michael Cohen must be black because he paid contractors 20 grand in cash in brown paper bags. Menendez, too. So in cash and windbreakers must be a black thing. All the people charging Trump with crimes are committing them. But you're not allowed to say that because we have to protect the rule of law the rule of law. Fannie and Bragg are all the Democrats have since Jack Smith's cases are getting calendared. It is so bad, they're bringing back James Comey.
He is a threat to the rule of law in America. To me, that's what this election is about. Not about policy differences. It's about what kind of country are we going to be. If he has the ability, smarter than he was last time, to use the power of the Department of Justice and the FBI to target his enemies especially, the rule of law in America will change in a way we haven't seen in our lifetime.
They're saying Trump's going to unleash assassination squads on his enemies, but Biden unleashed armed agents into Trump's house, authorizing them to use deadly force. Judge Jeanine Pirro is here. Authorized armed agents to use deadly force in the Mar-a-Lago raid. That is insane. Is there any justification for that?
Absolutely not. The thing that concerns me about this, the approval of the use of deadly physical force to engage the president and his security detail, who you know, Jesse, is the Secret Service, is a pre-authorization where they assume something's going to happen and they don't even call us for the use of force. We're giving it to you ahead of time, preemptively. But more important and more telling to me is that they told them not to wear shirts that identified them as law enforcement agents, just to wear unmarked polo shirts, and I think they wanted to cover up they keep law enforcement equipment concealed. Now, why would they do that? I don't know. But, my mind as a prosecutor goes to maybe they wanted the engagement of physical force. Maybe they wanted to come in without FBI, without, DOJ, without all of that, identifying so that they could engage in deadly physical force. And let me ask you something, Jesse. When we were getting out of Afghanistan, did the Biden administration approve the use of deadly physical force when we had someone in a suicide vest in our sight with actionable intelligence? No. And 13 Americans died. But here, they're ready to use force.
It's smart.
They didn't do it against Joe Biden when they seized his records.
So when someone is being chased by an undercover, when they're tackled and cuffed, you often hear them say, "Oh, I didn't know you were law enforcement. Right. You were dressed like plainclothes." Maybe they were looking for a little action.
Maybe.
Tell me about this 1 week vacation.
Okay.
That this jury is getting. Have you ever seen a judge say, take the week off right before the case goes to them?
First of all, taking the week off, their memories aren't as sharp. They have the opportunity to have other people, plead with them, especially in the New York area. You've got to convict this guy as a bad guy, all that stuff. Then they come back to a charge where Mershant he's not going to be fair and balanced. He's pro-prosecution. And when I was a judge, as soon as the defense finished its case, if it had a case, I would tell all my jurors, you're going to bring an overnight bag and a toothbrush in case you're going to be sequestered. And as soon as they get that evidence, they go to the hotel. And we do not let them out until they come out with a verdict. This is an opportunity to not only mess up the case, but to make sure they're influenced by the public. This judge does not deserve to wear a robe, Mershant.
No, Mershant's a joke. Fannie Willis, we're hearing she just won re-election. It was a primary, so we're going to have more Fannie. But she's still in trouble, though. They are investigating her for more shenanigans just at a higher level.
Yeah.
Does she get DQ'd or not?
I don't know if she gets DQ'd, and I don't think she cares. But the truth is she used her office to hire a boyfriend, use state funds to pay for him and pay for their sexual liaisons, and then lied about it. Let's be clear. You can't do that.
There's a lot of liars that are going after Donald Trump. I mean, liars with lots of cash hanging around.
Yeah, and Michael Cohen. I mean, I sold $60,000. I thought he owed it to me because it was self-help. I mean, he should be indicted, but the statute has passed.
It's crazy.
So What I'm going to recommend to everybody is this. This person right here.
Major bombshell in the Trump documents case. The FBI
I'd
authorized
be
the
able
use
to.
of deadly force.
This person right here, Q Metrics, I'm going to recommend to everybody to unfollow is what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to recommend to everybody. Unfollow her. Do not follow her posts any longer. Don't give her any support whatsoever. Because anybody who is turning around and pulling what she's pulling is definitely not a true Trump supporter. She should maybe change her name from PA Trump to PA Biden girl. All right, because as far as I'm concerned, you know, that's exactly what she is. And you know, yeah, it's a don't need to go much further into that. We'll go ahead and leave that there. Okay, okay, so let's get into. Here we go. Love this guy. This pastor is something else. Robbie Starbuck put this up.
What is a woman?
What is a woman?
It's your mama.
That's right. Plain and simple.
You that confused? Let me come and watch it. I tell you, it's your mama. It sure ain't your daddy.
That's right. Go ahead. That's right.
What is a woman? Now that transgender want to take away the title mother from the women.
Lord.
Yeah, all you women that got babies, they don't want the women now to be called mothers. They want them to be called baby carriers.
What?
You know, like you're a freightliner.
My
Like you're
Lord,
a freightliner.
Lord.
Baby carriers. And you know these dumb, ignorant congressmen is considering it.
Mm.
What's a woman? Your mama.
Your mama. That's right.
President Biden joining in on the conversation.
Mm.
We didn't know what a woman. We didn't know what a woman is. A woman is your mama.
That's right. Tell about Pastor.
That man is past 80, isn't he? He's past 80, right?
I believe so.
You mean to tell me you past 80 and you don't know your mama and your wife?
That's right.
Is a woman?
Lord help us.
Do I really need to say anything else? Do I really need to say anything else? Your mama. You know you're in trouble when they go at the mama, right? All right, here we go. Older millennial. What's he got to say today?
The media will never stop covering for hedge funds while making it seem like every problem is the fault of the American people. Like, I'd be willing to bet you think Red Lobster went into bankruptcy because of endless shrimp. You know, the endless shrimp promotion they had. Because that's what the media's told you. They've been telling you repeatedly that the reason Red Lobster went into bankruptcy was that they had the endless shrimp combo and the greedy American people just took advantage of it. That's not what happened. No, what happened was a hedge fund bought Red Lobster, and as a condition of the sale, they made them split up their land and their restaurants. Because up until that point, Red Lobster actually owned all of the land that their restaurants were located on. And then once they made them split that up, the hedge funds made the leases on that land so expensive that the Red Lobsters couldn't possibly continue to operate. So Red Lobster had to keep trying new things to try to make enough money to pay these leases. And it was never enough to be able to afford what the hedge fund wanted to charge them. So now they're going into bankruptcy. But the media is not talking about that. No, the media is saying that American greed and the American people were the problem. That Red Lobster made terrible marketing decisions and the American people took advantage of it. But make no mistake, the only reason Red Lobster is going into bankruptcy is because a hedge fund wanted them to go into bankruptcy. They wanted to put Red Lobster out of business so they could take the land that the Red Lobsters were on. Because Red Lobster has some amazing locations across the United States. And now the hedge fund is going to be able to sell off all the little pieces of Red Lobster, completely shutting them down and just have the land all to themselves. And look, I don't like that, but hedge funds are allowed to do that. Investors are allowed to fuck over another company. But what shouldn't be happening is the media being complicit and trying to hide that fact. And shit like that is why we created the MCU, because it's not just the hedge funds. It's not just the government. It's also the media. Absolutely fucking nobody is on our side. Absolutely nobody is giving us the true facts except for each other. And that's why we created the MCU, to be able to work together. But now we'll all just probably sit on TikTok and just bitch about it.
No, I don't go on TikTok. You guys come to me. So I won't be on TikTok watching and waiting, because TikTok ain't everything. However, it is a good source of information periodically. You know, a couple things each day come up. Yep. So here goes another report. Just to verify.
Former President Trump's attorneys argue the Biden administration Justice Department authorized the use of deadly force if necessary during that raid of the former president's home in Mar-a-Lago down in Florida as they're searching for classified materials. Again, this is an exhibit that is just one of many documents released by the judge, Eileen Cannon, in recent days. Correspondent Kevin Cork has these breaking details as they're coming.
Okay, so who was this released by? The judge. The judge released these documents unredacted. Donald Trump was not the first person to say that these people had been authorized to use lethal force. This is why I'm telling you, okay, be careful who you follow. Okay. Now, I was following her, but then I began to catch on to some things. And that one there sealed the deal. It sealed it. And that's why I said, turn off Outside the Matrix, Q Rash, who's turning out to be more like a poison ivy rash, okay, than a Q Rash. All right, now that we got that cleared up, here we go.
Some 400 pages released just in the past few minutes. Good evening, Kevin.
Evening, Brett. I've been going over this. It is quite shocking what we have been able to glean based on what Judge Cannon has released. As you mentioned, the Biden administration authorizing the use of deadly force during the FBI's raid on former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in August of 2022 as part of its investigation into classified records. That, again, according to court documents. Now, an operations order, Brett, produced in discovery as part of special counsel Jack Smith's investigation into the former president's alleged improper retention of classified records, revealed that the FBI believed its objective for the Mar-a-Lago raid was to seize classified information, NDI, and government records as described in the search warrant. Here's where things get very interesting. The order, according to a court filing, contained a policy statement regarding the use of deadly force, which stated, for example, law enforcement officers of the DOJ may use deadly force when necessary. According to the filing, the DOJ and FBI agents plan to bring standard issue weapons, ammo, handcuffs, and medium and large size bolt cutters. But they were also instructed, according to the filing, to wear unmarked polo or collared shirts and to keep law enforcement equipment concealed. Mr. Trump was charged out of Smith's investigation into the classified document circumstance. Of course, he's also pleaded not guilty to all 37 felony charges stemming from Smith's probe, including the willful retention of national defense information, conspiracy to obstruct justice, and false statements. Additionally, Brett, newly unsealed court records show more classified records were discovered in former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago bedroom 4 months after that 2022 FBI search of the estate. Those records were discovered by lawyers for Mr. Trump, and all this comes as he is seeking to have his federal criminal prosecution tossed out. There's one other note I want to share. The judge in the case secretly ruled federal prosecutors could interview Mr. Trump's lawyer, Evan Corcoran, despite claims that would violate attorney-client privilege. Federal Judge Beryl Howell in the newly released 2023 ruling said, quote, notably, no excuse is provided as to how the former president could miss the classified marked documents found in his own bedroom at Mar-a-Lago. She also went on to say other things like there's no reason not to allow this to happen, meaning the conversation with his attorney. Now, the FBI search of the estate allegedly found lots of classified material. I've talked about that for quite some time in places like a bedroom, a bathroom, and even on a ballroom stage. This, of course, is all happening as this documents case is on hold indefinitely, Brett, as pretrial motions are being debated by the federal trial judge Eileen Cannon. And that, by the way, may not happen until well after the November election. And then, of course, if Mr. Trump wins, that could change too, Brett.
Right. And this is all part of the pretrial documents that Judge Cannon has been releasing. One of those filings by the Trump attorneys is how the classified materials were handled by the FBI in this entire process. But this one, you know, there may be some people, Kevin, who say that this is just a policy statement of standard operating procedures put inside this operations order for this specific raid. But obviously, it's not standard operating procedure when you're going into the house of the former president, who happens to be protected by Secret Service. And one would think that would be different. This is saying that there were 25 Miami FBI agents, 4 Washington FBI agents, 1 unidentified individual from FBI headquarters, 1 DOJ attorney, and the assistant U.S. attorney from the Southern District of Florida. So
and remember
a lot
this
of people
too.
there.
Yeah, Brett, remember this to compare and contrast how the FBI and the government handled this raid at Mar-a-Lago when compared to how it handled, again, looking into alleged retention of classified documents and other material by the current president, Joe Biden, including material that we've obviously seen on video allegedly left in his garage and in other places in Pennsylvania. Again, the comparison is quite striking, Brett.
That's what the former president's attorneys are bringing up time and again. We'll see where this goes. Thanks for jumping on the breaking news, Kevin.
You bet.
All right. So, like I said, you know, we've been shown. What are you sending me now? That doesn't tell me what that's about. So,
former President Trump's attorneys.
All right, here we go. Trump lawyer Christina Baez, you saw she was heading into court before us. Is why.
Shortly after that, I went over to the Election Integrity Council for Donald Trump. When that transition happened, since that transition has happened, I can tell you I've had the U.S. Marshals show up at my house, the FBI, the Department of Justice has interrogated me, and I've been investigated by bars. I've had several independent investigations, as well as been subpoenaed in, I want to say, 4 civil cases. See how this is going to play out. I'm working hard to fight against it, and we're not going to stop. We're going to keep going.
The 9 felonies are how many years in prison? If you were found guilty, how many for those 9 felonies?
Yeah, several decades.
Is it 50 years in prison?
Something like that. Yeah, I assume it would be the rest of my life in prison. Yeah.
Yep. All because she's representing.
Shortly after.
All because she's representing Donald Trump. Yep. Lawfare. Lawfare. All right. So even Steve Bannon's covering it.
Your rise to national prominence started on the afternoon of this raid. You called it then. Now that you've seen these documents, your thoughts?
There's no question that President Biden orchestrated this raid on President Trump to go get those declassified Crossfire Hurricane presidential records that are so damning to Obama, to Biden, to Hillary, to the AG, to the FBI director, James Comey, to the CIA, to the DNI. They made up the Russian collusion hoax in 2016 because Hillary Clinton had her illegal home server as Secretary of State that not only had our nation's most classified secrets, it had the evidence of the Clinton Foundation's pay-for-play foreign bribery schemes when Hillary was the Secretary of State. And the Russians and the Chinese almost certainly hacked this server, and the Obama regime and the Hillary campaign were worried this hacked material was going to come out on this bribery and foreign corruption from the Clinton Foundation. So they said it was they made up the Crossfire Hurricane investigation, the Russian collusion hoax, so they can say when this came out that this was a dirty campaign trick from the Trump campaign. And you say, that sounds crazy. How could you possibly say that, Mike? Well, they did the same thing in 2020 with Hunter Biden's laptop from hell with the Biden family corruption. They had the CIA work with the 51 former intel officials to say it had all the hallmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign. They deplatformed the New York Post, America's oldest newspaper. Trump declassified the Crossfire Hurricane records via presidential memo the day before he left office. The FBI, the intel agency, said you can't release these public.
Mike, what is Jim Jordan and Mike Johnson need? You should start impeachment proceedings just on that. They authorized deadly force. They had a medic. They had a plan to triage the wounded. They had a trauma center 18 miles away and a map. This was an attempted assassination attempt on Donald John Trump or people associated with him. They wanted a gunfight. They brought they had use of deadly force authorized by the director of the FBI and Merrick Garland. They brought a medic, a combat medic. They had a triage plan for the injured, and they had a trauma center. What more do we need? Good God in heaven. What more? President Trump just truthed it out when he walks out the courtroom. What more do we need to shut this down? What is it going to take? Are we going to send a sharply worded letter, Mike Davis? Is that what? Look at what the evidence is. The judge has known this. She's pleading for help. That's what she's got this trial of Jack Smith on the 27th, 28th, and 29th of June. Sir, how can we, if we tolerate this, we're tolerating the end of this republic, sir.
Now the fact that President Biden had his librarians send in assassins to go get these Crossfire Hurricane records, it shows you how damaging these are to Biden, to Obama, to Hillary, to the deep state. If these get out, it is going to destroy these the intel community and the law enforcement agencies, because they ran the biggest scandal ever with Crossfire Hurricane. They spied on a presidential candidate. They spied on the president of the United States. They lied to the FISA court. They lied to Congress. They tried to hobble the Trump presidency, and now they're trying to throw him in prison for the rest of his life based upon these 4 bogus indictments in 4 different jurisdictions. They want Trump to die in prison. They're trying to gag him because they know that if he gets back into the White House and releases these Crossfire Hurricane records, it's game over for Obama, Biden, Hillary, the FBI, the CIA, the broader law enforcement and intel community. This is the biggest scandal in American history, and that's why that is why President Trump is facing this unprecedented lawfare. This is why they sent in deadly force to go get these records.
I don't know. Seems pretty clear to me that the judge released information. The judge released information highlighting this. Okay. It wasn't Donald Trump. Donald Trump just confirmed it. That's all he did. So the fact that somebody would come on and say that that Donald Trump falsely claimed, falsely my ass. You just lost all your fucking credibility. Every single ounce of credibility that you had is gone. Never listen to you again. Stay off my fucking page. Stay out of my feed. Colin Rugg says American Airlines is blaming a 9-year-old girl for being filmed by with their flight attendants in the bathroom. Yeah, blame a 9-year-old girl. Yeah. Here we go.
So American Airlines is saying, don't blame us for Thompson's alleged perverted behavior, but they hired him and they put him in a position of supreme authority, which all flight attendants have on flights. Passengers, may I remind everybody, face federal penalties if they refuse to obey a flight attendant.
Exactly. In my view, is have they no shame? You know, this happened on their flight. We understand that allegedly there were at least 5 victims of this flight attendant. This terrible thing happens on the flight. And what do they do now? They try and wash their hands of it. Sorry, well, this is a risk you take when you fly. Yes, we may hire pedophiles. That's your risk. That's your risk when you fly. It is absolutely outrageous. They should be ashamed of themselves. And why, instead of filing these frivolous motions, in my view, don't they finally take responsibility for what happened? In the months since this happened, they have not even bothered to reach out to either family to ask, how are they doing? How are the girls doing?
So American Airlines is saying, don't blame us for Thompson's alleged perverted behavior, but they hired him and they put him in a position of supreme authority, which all flight attendants have on.
Yep. which all flight attendants have supreme authority. All right. No, here's an American who admits his mistake and is doing something to rectify it. What do I mean by that? Well, up until 2020, this guy has never voted. Never has he cast a ballot for a president or any other officials. He has never voted. Okay? Listen to what he's got to say. Here we go.
So this video is for all the people that have talked about how Trump has divided this country more than any president out there, anybody, whatever. I'm just going to tell my personal experience. I think it may resonate with a lot of people, but hopefully the people on the other side hear this because I think I'm a pretty good example of what a lot of Americans have gone through. I never voted before 2020. I didn't vote for anybody in 2016. I could have cared less. I mean, I wanted, obviously, kind of born and raised Republican, so I wanted Trump to win, obviously. But I wasn't a huge Trump fan in 2016. I wanted him to win because of who he was running against, obviously. But I could have cared less which candidate it would have been, as long as it was somebody other than her, right? But anyway, I didn't vote through that, but I saw what happened after 16. And for a Gen Xer, a person of my age that kind of grew up when I grew up, we didn't believe or trust any politician. We kind of grew up laughing at politicians. They'd say whatever they wanted to say and get elected, and they'd never do anything. How do they run on the same? What my old joke used to be, they run on the same 4 or 5 issues every 4 years. Like, can we not solve it yet, please? And let's go on to 4 new issues. I mean, it's just always a kind of a joke to me. So I didn't care. I didn't vote, and that's a terrible thing, and I regret that. I do. But anyway, I saw how Trump was treated by the people that I already knew was crooked, both left and right. I thought they were all crooked. But when I saw the persecution of him and the division that they put between him and what they said was right, and demonized him in such a way, it's not that I like Trump anymore, but if they hate him that much, then he must be better than I thought. Like, I wasn't a huge lover of Trump in the beginning, but if they hated him that much and they were willing to go to that extreme to hurt him and to get him out of there, then wait a minute, I might ought to take a second look at this guy. So the more you look, the more you read, and the more you see, the more you start thinking, hey, he's doing some good stuff, right? So I voted in 2020 because they were all against him. And I thought he needed my help. He needed my vote. First time I ever voted in my life. And he didn't win. And I just couldn't help but think that, a lot of other people felt like me. And I personally know 5 or 6 people that also voted in 2020 for the very first time. And it was the same way I voted. So, that just raised more red flags. And so the division is definitely there. But I view it totally different. Trump didn't wake me up and divide me. The people that are out to get Trump have divided me. They've gone after that guy in such a way that he must be a pretty good guy if they're out to hurt him that bad. If they're going to spend that much time and money and energy and break laws and do all the things they're going to do to get him, then he must stand for something better than I thought. So Trump didn't win me over. I saw what the other side was trying to do to him, and that's not just Democrats, people. There's a lot of Republicans in that category too. So I don't separate red and blue. I just look at government, and so I see how they're treating that guy, and so that's why that's what divided me the way it did. So anyway, I hope that clears that up a little bit. Maybe somebody can relate to that. It's just on my mind today, watching him go, sit in the courtroom 3 or 4 days a week. I think it's just making it even stronger case. I mean, you're just convincing me more and more. What in the hell are you so afraid of? And if I've been making fun of you and I've questioned you as an entire government for most of my life, and you got the entire government system coming down on one guy, he may be a pretty good guy, and he may not. The problem is we just have to look for ourselves and look at what's going on. But that's how I feel. So anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful day.
Yep. I respect him for coming out and telling his story like that. You know what I mean? Coming out and saying, you know, and the thing is I'm from that same generation. You know, we grew up not trusting the politicians. Our parents taught us well. After the assassination of John F. Kennedy, our parents knew something was up. Our parents knew. They made comments. They may not have had 100% influence over, you know, over us in thought and everything else, but we saw that all the politicians were corrupt. We saw it. And that's why we didn't want any part of it. But the fact of the matter is us not wanting to be part of it has put this country in danger. And it's going to take Gen X to bring us out. Okay? That's just a fact. Okay? It's going to take Gen X and the boomers to bring us 100% out of it. Okay? And we have to do it. We have to you know, we have to keep pushing. We have to keep standing. We have to keep, you know, believing that our Constitution is the supreme law of the land and our Bill of Rights. And we have to continue to show our support for somebody who actually gives a crap about our country and not about how much money that they have in the bank. Because this guy is spending his own money. Okay, he spent his own money during the first campaign. You know, I would get things now. I could literally pull up. Okay, I'm gonna use a prime example for you right here. Okay, I'm gonna show you how many emails that I get from the RNC. Okay, so and the thing is that they put him under Eric Trump's name. They put him under Real America's. Well, Real America's Voice is their own thing. Meet Donald Trump Jr., Trump Award Committee, Newt Gingrich. Okay, here we go. President Donald J. Trump, like he's going to email me. He's going to email me. Right. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Believe that. Here's another one. Donald Trump Jr. Okay. Trump merch team. Laura Trump. Okay. Let's see. Defending the Republic. All right. Here we go. Another Donald Trump Award Committee. Donald Trump Jr. Alert from Trump. Team Trump. Donald Trump Jr. Okay. Each day, anywhere between 5 to 10 emails a day. Okay. And the thing is, the money doesn't go to Donald Trump. That money does not go to Donald Trump. That money goes to the RNC. So every time you click on one of these and you donate, it's not going to Donald Trump. It's going to the Republican National Committee is where that's going. It's going to him. If I'm going to donate to Donald Trump, I'm going to send him a card, okay, and make my donation through a card going directly to Donald Trump. I'm not going to, or I'm going to get my happy ass on a plane, fly down to friggin' Mar-a-Lago, okay, and hand him my donation. Okay? I'm not giving crap to the Republican National Committee. I'm not giving anything to the DNC, the Democrat National Committee. I'm not doing it. Stop sending me your bullshit emails. Okay? Because you know and I know that that money is not going to Donald Trump. It's going to all these rhinos and bullshitters for the RNC is where that's going. And I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't have the money to do it anyways. I'm broke as a... Never mind. All right. Dane says it happened again. Another 14-year-old European girl was killed at the hands of an Afghan criminal in Österreich. I believe. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not German. So here we go.
So it happened again. The news hit today that a 14-year-old girl has been found dead, drugged, and abused in an apartment of an Afghan migrant in Vienna. This follows the news of 2 children who were 9 and 10 years old that were stabbed by a migrant in Duisburg-Marlow in Germany. And this follows the news of 3 women who were stabbed by a migrant also in Vienna, and a 12-year-old girl that was gang raped by 17 migrant minors also in Vienna. And that's in the last 10 days. That's 10 days in Europe. And this happens all the time. And I can't even begin to tell you how many cases like this I've reported on in the last, I don't know, few years. It's endless. It's endless. And it literally never ends because nothing ever changes. Our policies never change. And then there's some uproar for a few days. You know, everyone's like, man, what happened here? And, you know, the newspapers, if they even write about it, there will be one headline, one article. And then everybody forgets again. And the list of girls and women and boys and men too who've been sacrificed on the altar of mass migration is too long to even fathom. And we just forget. We don't know. But everybody who argues for mass deportations or who says, hey, we need to close our borders is a racist. But if you're white in this continent and you get killed, nothing happens. Nothing happens. The whole world was up in arms about a drug dealer who was murdered in the United States, George Floyd. If you're a white 14-year-old girl found dead and raped in an apartment of a migrant in Vienna, nobody even knows your name. Nobody knows your name. And I swear, I'm thinking about this now. I filmed documentaries before. I will do it again. No, someone needs to make a film about this. Somebody needs to put a face to all of these victims, to all of these girls, to all of these women, to all of these boys and men who've been murdered by people who should have never been here. If it's the last thing I'll do, I'm pleading. I'm making this promise to you right now. I'm emotional about it. I'm gonna make this film. I'm gonna make this film because something needs to happen here, and we can't just forget their names. We don't even know their names in most cases. I'll make the film.
Right on. Make that film, girl. Make that film. All right. And it's not just happening there. It's happening all over. It's happening in our own country. Things are happening. And if we're not reporting on it, then you're not seeing it. Okay. Because the mainstream media is not going to cover it. MSNBC definitely is not going to report on it. Okay. In most cases, YouTube won't allow any of that stuff to be put up because it mentions sexual assault. Okay. It's does YouTube approve of sexual assault? I don't know. We're going to have to ask YouTube that. All right. Somebody asked, what's my opinion of Don Jr.? You know, the thing about Don Jr. is he's always stated and he's always stood by that he doesn't want to be in politics. Okay. And I don't ever see him jumping into politics. I see what he's doing in support of his dad, but he's never been, he's never been one to want to run for office or anything like that. I do like that he's doing his own podcast. He does a lot of great interviews and covers a lot of great content and stuff. I don't generally show his stuff because of the fact that copyrights and everything else. I definitely don't want to be fighting the Trump family in regards to copyrights and things like that. Or else I would be playing his content here in the podcast, you know. So you know, he's a pretty level-headed guy. I think he's got some great ideas. And I think that, yeah, I think he leans more towards the businessman side. I see Eric Trump running for office. And honestly, I see Barron possibly throwing his hat in the arena of politics, because especially after watching what has been done to his dad, and being right there on the sideline watching it the whole time, I think that would spur any child to go after those who went after his father. Absolutely, you know. So Yeah, Camilla has a demon portrait too. Did you know that? Yeah, she had one done at the same time that her loving husband had one. Mm-hmm.
Someone posted an image of the king's portrait flipped and mirrored, and it looked like there was this hidden image of a horned goat head that kind of looked like the traditional depictions of the devil. Now, as a joke, I thought, why don't I see if Camilla's portrait, done by the same artist, also has this implied image? So I flipped and mirrored it, and I didn't really see anything. But then I flipped it right side up, and I was very surprised to find a very clear image of this horned goat head right in between her shoulders. As you can see, there's these very long horns kind of shaped by her hair, and the eyes and the ears. I was really surprised at how clear this image was. Now, this can happen a lot just by accident. But for it to happen twice by the same artist with the same series of portraits, and you see, you flip it upside down, you can't really see it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I don't, yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, it seems to me that we're being shown things. We're being shown things. We're being told things. These people are outing themselves every which way we turn. And it makes me wonder how much longer this is going to go on, because at the speed in which these people are revealing themselves and showing their true colors, that we can't be that far out from something really coming forward that is going to start bringing this narrative to an end, and getting us on a track of rebuilding this country and rebuilding each other, you know, because that's gonna be part of it. You know, it's gonna be part of it. We can only do so much. We can only inspire so much. But when these guys out themselves time and time and time again, they just really they make it easy for us. They make it easy for us. No, that wasn't Jill. That was Camilla. Prince Charles is or King Charles, his wife. So we already covered the Trump raid there. Here, Philadelphia mayor is now making it illegal for citizens to repair their own cars. What? Gotta watch this one.
What up, y'all? Uptown serves the hood abolitionist here. So in case y'all haven't heard, the latest news is this. Sherelle Parker has created a task force, including the Philadelphia Police Department and the Philadelphia Parking Authority. And their stated purpose is to crack down on street mechanics. They define street mechanics as people who work on cars who don't have an official shop. So now, if you're caught working on your car in the street, you could be fined or arrested. Your car could be taken and impounded, and you have to pay the fees to get it out. You know how that goes with the parking authority. So it's street mechanics now. Yesterday, it was the Kensington quote unquote cleanup. Then it was the ski mask ban. Then it was tinted windows. And so it just seems like every move that Mayor Sherelle Parker is making is an aggressive assault on Black and brown communities, because she's not trying this stuff in the Northeast or where a majority of the community is white or affluent. And so I think, honestly, the next step for Sherelle Parker might be to place a police officer in every Black and brown person's home to make sure that you aren't using too much water when you take a bath or a shower, or to make sure you aren't flushing baby wipes down the toilet. Who knows, man? I I don't rule that out when it comes to this administration. Sherelle Parker is a dictator. She is an authoritarian, and she doesn't care about black and brown folks. In fact, I think that she is showing that she hates her color. She's showing that she hates people who look like her. And, you know, we put her in office. So we got to get her out. Uptown Sirs, the hood abolitionists.
There you go. People recognizing their faults in voting for these people. All right. Here we go. Scott Lebedo.
Nope, I got it. I'll be the guy to say it as usual. Let me start with this. See this painting? I did this a few years ago. Martin Luther King. It's one of my favorite sayings. We may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. I did this years ago, right before his birthday, and I displayed it. Now, I tried to offer this to a couple of schools, one of my alma maters, I'm not going to mention the name, to give it to them, to hang up. And they said no. I found out because some of these Democrats at the school, ooh, he's a conservative patriot. He likes Donald Trump. He's a racist. We can't have his painting in here. This great black man done by a white man. You see what happened the other day when President Biden made his speech at that graduation? And he said that America hates black people. That Republicans and Trump supporters and patriots that wave their flag hate black people. You black folks out there need to understand that it is the Democrats that have separated us. I am an 80s boy. In the 80s, 90s, 2000, we all got the fuck along. And for him, because the Democrats have nothing to stand on except racism. Divide us so they get your votes. Because the Democrats think you're stupid. Let me finish. Governor Holko last week said black kids in the Bronx don't know anything about a computer. She had to backtrack that before I was reading. These same Democrats also say that we can't have voter ID because black folks aren't smart enough to have they can't obtain a photo ID. Folks, say what you want about me. I'm just giving you the message from the Democrats that want to separate the fuck out of us. I love everybody. I represent Trump supporters, conservative flag-waving patriots. Oh, fuck yeah, we had some shitty fucking racism way back in the day. And there will always be individually, not systemically, there will individually always be racist, bigots, homophobes. That is the nature of mankind. But it is a hair on a horse's ass compared to what these Democrats are telling you, so you separate from us, so we can't be equal and have racial harmony that we all fucking want and that we had. See? So, here comes the kicker, like it or not. If you black folks out there think that I and people like me who love this country, who are voting for Trump, you think we don't like you black people? Then you are fucking stupid.
Damn! He said it. If you believe that, you are stupid. Because it's not true. You know. All right, here's a script keeper. So we haven't had much from him lately because of the fact that he's in the process of moving down to Florida. He is one of my favorite follows. Absolutely. He's a no-nonsense, straight to the point, doesn't beat around the bush, lays out the facts, lays out the receipts, and leaves it at that. You know, And that's what I like about him. Here we go.
60 seconds in your popcorn. So, mad people hit me up like, yo, don't you jump in a little too early, Script, with this whole thing? But you don't think they're taking them out? And I'm like, huh? You know, for a week I've been busy, you know. Everybody's like, yo, did you move next to General Flynn? And I'm like, no, I'm in Orlando. I ain't in Saratoga. I mean, Sarasota. Anyways, listen, I can tell you this. If you think Ivan's going to go around and the politicians are going to execute the politicians, it's all for a LARP. Oh, my God. I'm just laughing. That's all I can do is laugh right now. Yo, everybody is jumping off of cliffs right now. Yo, all the LARPs. Yo, they jumping off of cliffs, and the real ones see it. We all see it right now. Just pay attention. It's going to get fucking spicy this summer.
Yep.
60 seconds.
That's why I'm saying, you know, people are going to start showing their true colors more and more and more. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end this here so that I can come back on with you guys again later on this afternoon when Trump goes live in the Bronx. I hope I can hold on, give me 1 second here. I believe he goes on at 6 p.m. on the East Coast time, so that would be, what, 3 o'clock my time. So I'm going to try and set a timer for this to make sure. As a matter of fact, let me double check here real quick because I want to make sure that we get it. I think that is going to be one heck of a. I'm telling you, I really think that this is going to be the number one. Is going to be the number one rally that he has done in the United States so far. So live stream begins May 23rd at 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So I'm setting an alarm right now. I'll try to come on like 5 minutes before, and we'll all watch it together. So thank you for joining me this morning. I hope you got something out of the content that I brought to you today. Remember that God loves you, Christ loves you, I love you, and let's keep doing this, folks. Peace.